Dial Models Workshop.
Hi, it's Yeji.
And Clint.
Hey, it's Larry. You are entering Models Workshop After Hours, a modeling podcast where we talk about miniatures, model painting, and we cuss a lot. If you can be offended, we're probably going to offend you. Then you're going to laugh, and you're going to feel bad. And then we'll offend you again, and then you'll laugh again. You see the pattern. So kick out, sit back, grab your brush, grab your paints, and get ready to have some fun. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Models Workshop After Hours. This is Gen 24 coming at you with Models Workshop After Hours. Yes, we are going to probably make you laugh. We should make you laugh. If not, we're failing at our duties. You're probably going to hear me bitch a little bit because I have a stomach ache. And no matter how much new medication I'm on and how much better my mood is, a tummy ache makes Larry a grumpy guy. We also, in the house, have a headache-ridden Yeji, so this is going to be an absolutely amazing podcast of a bunch of bitchy, shitty, kind of hurting people.
It's not really headache right now. It's where I'm, like, dizzy, and I'm, like, floating on top of something, it feels like. It's just, like, it feels like I'm high all the time.
Oh, no, now we know the truth. It's 4:20, it's Friday, Chris Tucker rolled by, you ain't got shit to do, you ain't got no job, you ain't got high with me. But anyway,
no, it's not that. I'm a goody two-shoes. You know that.
She wishes it was. Maybe you should get rid of these damn headaches and the complaininess. Oh, my goodness. So tonight we are joined by the ever-awesome Jim.
Hey there. How you guys doing?
He's already completed an
army. We also have... Yeah, he's already completed the first army. He's starting on the second one. We are a minute in. We also have the ever-awesome Gildy. We are doing one podcast. Everyone and their mother did not join us today, so a little bit smaller, but also another reason that we could not split the cast up like we did last week is that we won't have a spot for it if we do it because, Models Workshop UK is actually recording their first episode either this week or next week. I'm not entirely sure, but I saw them planning it, and so, we're going to be seeing them here shortly. Or not seeing them, more hearing them. Oh my god, I read their intro. It is like it is the most politest "we're going to offend you" statement I have ever seen in my life. It's almost cute. It is so British, it's British.
Okay then.
No, seriously, have you not ever read something and you're like, wow, that's definitely... Have you ever watched a British TV show and you're like, you can definitely tell that's British? No? Am I the only one that watches British comedy, TV, IT Crowd, Red Dwarf?
Tons of British shows, mostly.
Black Books? That one's good.
Which one?
Black Books.
Yeah, Black Books is good.
I have not seen that one. Okay, no, so like seriously. Hi, we're so-and-so. And welcome to Models Workshop UK. We are the more polite, well-spoken, tea-drinking cousins to your better-known stateside favorites. We're here to talk about models, games, painting, and more. We aim to entertain you and make you laugh, but we might swear a little bit and offend you. Don't worry, though. We'll make you laugh again, and you'll feel good once more. So grab a brush and something you want to paint, and sit back and relax, and let us take over your ear holes for the next couple of hours. You have to admit that is like, what's that?
Sorry, I dropped something.
That is so British. It's not even funny. You know, Amy, if you had to go to the bathroom, you could have just said, "Hey, I need to hop off."
That's my water bucket.
Sure it is.
Your chamber pot?
Yeah.
Children, I need it empty.
Her night soil bucket. All right, so you already heard the myth, the man, the legend, the person that you've probably seen tons of his work, but you don't know who he is.
Whose name Larry messes up like 90% of the time.
90% of America messes it up. I don't care.
Our buddy Heriberto.
Hi there.
Did I fuck it up this time?
I'll be honest with you. I have not met an American that can pronounce the name correctly. But it helps that it's kind of like Herbert, but in Spanish.
All right, Herb.
Herb does the trick.
All right, he's a Herb. And also, Herb is also very appropriate for 420, which is when we're recording.
At least the British version.
Next door neighbor is named Alberto.
But
one of the legendary Bertos.
All right. So, yeah, last recording session was really weird. It really kind of fucked Amy up. She's like, did we record last week? And I was like, no, hon, it's been 2 weeks. Really? Yeah, it really has been 2 weeks.
Heriberto?
So this week we are going to talk about digital sculpting. We had Patrick on a while back, and he talked about traditional sculpting. So this time we have Heriberto on here. He's going to talk about digital sculpting because that's what he does. A lot of if you're into the chibi Kickstarters, you've definitely seen his work. And he's also done a lot of other stuff around the interwebs, so he's definitely well known. Like you said, you may not know his name, and you definitely probably can't pronounce his name, but you've seen his work. We're also going to be talking about a couple Kickstarters. I may rant a little bit about one or two of them. Got some positive stuff to say about a couple of them too. So,
and Yeji's going to talk about the thing she's doing next weekend.
Yay!
If you're in Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas.
And it does not involve a street corner.
No, it does not.
Not yet. When they kick her to the curb, then it'll involve a street corner.
That's where she lands.
I actually today just picked up a metric ton of terrain for 40K and Age of Sigmar for my FLGS because I kind of owe the game store owner a favor because he's also the finance manager of our local car lot, and I bought a car a few months back. I feel like I'm in a Godfather situation.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'll make you a deal you can't refuse.
You have to build
one
terrain.
day.
That's just
I might call. Nah, it's some really awesome terrain kits, like shit that I was kind of like, ooh, I'm gonna look forward to this. But it is a huge box. And
you're gonna wake up someday to a unpainted army on your bed,
dude. That's like an everyday thing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you know what I said when Larry got these and showed us a photo? I was like, oh, something Larry's gonna paint and finish.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's basically not even tabletop. It is terrain top. Just make it look good so people can play on it because it's gonna get beat to shit anyways. So. Basically, the reason he gave it to me to do, it's because, one, he knows I have airbrushes, so me getting the base work to it is going to be nice and easy. Two, it's going to be a good lead into some good articles.
Not many people like to build it.
Right. And also because he's a good friend, regardless of the fact that he is the finance manager over there. And he did give me a good deal on the car, but... he's also my FLGS owner that I've known for 5+ years now. So, and he's a good guy, and he's always treated me and the kids really well. So, I have no problem helping him out. And he's told me it's like if I come to a point where I just can't finish it, bring what I finished in, and then he'll have one of his other people work on it. But whatever.
Yeah, that kind of terrain's awesome. It's you got the Warskrier Citadel, I think it's called now. They renamed it. I can't remember the new name. It used to be the Witchfire Watchtower, I think.
Yeah, that's the one I saw, and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
I can't wait. I cannot wait to paint that. It
awesome.
is. I got a Sigmarite mausoleum. I got some tree-looking thingamabob. I got some storage containers. I got the malign portent. I got a blasted hollow heart. Yeah. I have 2 Imperial sectors to build.
Nice.
So those, dude, I was surprised how heavy those things are. That thing has to be jam-packed full of plastic.
Oh, that shit is thick. And the Munitorium, whatever, crates and stuff, that's a really awesome kit. Really easy build, really fun to paint.
Yeah, Andrew said he wanted to build those, so he's going to be building those. I got my 11-year-old who's just starting out on model kits.
Nice.
So right, and this isn't stuff that I'm going to be removing mold lines or anything like that. It's going to be cut, painted, or cut, glued.
Well, they have one big mold line. It's not that hard to take care of. But yeah,
if it's super obvious, then I'll take the mold line remover and just knock it out real quick. But honestly, this is terrain that's going to literally have the shit beat out of it. So I'm going to hit it with. I'm probably actually going to get rattle can primer.
Yeah.
because the Crayon has a little bit better of a binder in it. So I'm probably going to hit it with the Crayon first and then paint over it and then clear coat the shit out of it. So hopefully I won't end up having to repaint these for at least a couple years.
Well,
maybe,
and
kinda,
yeah,
sorta.
if you just like basically do that, do your primer, do your wash or not, if you like, depending, and dry brush the shit out of it, you're done.
Right, and that's kind of
your topper, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit a couple of the details and hit a few places with some metal and then hit some color. Like I said, this is an award-winning terrain. You know, if we had like super professional players at our store, I might care a little bit more, but for the most part, we're just trying to get beginners in. So we want the terrain to look good, but it doesn't have to look like, oh my God. I wouldn't
be able
mind
to touch it too, you know, because the people that know enough are like, oh, maybe I shouldn't touch that. That looks really nice.
Right. And, you know, there's certain people who it's just going to get tossed on the shelf. You know, like, I'm probably going to build one of those two kits first and then last. Like, the one that I do last, it might take a few months for him to get it back because I might actually do a really good job on that one. But the first one I'll just kind of knock together. The second one I might actually go look into getting some MDF board cut. He told me, you know, any expenses I have, just to bring in a receipt and he'll reimburse me. So,
those are nice because if you leave them modular, they're nice because people can put them together how they like them.
And that's what I was kind of considering. What I was probably going to do is I was going to leave them all the big chunks together, but on each of them we're going to have their own little MDF base, and then I can make some.
Oh yeah,
I can make some tank traps and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Well, another cool thing is one of the automotive plants that I pick up at has a lot of waste plastic. They actually have sprues and off of one of their parts, and they have this, like, I forgot what they call them, but it's like this big 4 foot or 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot box. I mean, it's like 125 cubic feet, and they're like, hey, we'll load one of these on your semi if you want. And I'm like, no, I can't take that many with me. But what I did do is I grabbed, it's about the size of one of those plastic totes that you pick up. It's a box that big, and they loaded it literally all the way to the brim and then above some of these plastic sprues. And they're not like GW sprues or other sprues. They're really thin, and they actually have spikes. So taking a few of those and building a framework and then like taking the spikes and lining them up like a tank trap would work really well too. And you could do it as like a anti-personnel as well. So I have that at my disposal. Yes, that's cool.
Yeah, I love stuff. I pick up stuff off the ground when I see it. I picked up some copper wire because they were doing some work nearby, and they left crap everywhere, and I'm like, ooh, copper wire, I can use this. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, like I'll go to get a drink, and I'll grab like 17 straws.
You know what's great about copper wire too, Amy? You can put it in your wet palette.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. I've heard using an older penny. I got my son has gotten my, whatever you want to call it, collecting gene, let's say, and has grabbed a bunch of stuff from the railroad area. Anyway, he grabbed a bunch of copper and other metals, and this was on, I would like to say this was on private land, defunct area, and he was allowed by the owner, so nothing, shady went on here. But, yeah, he got a lot of metals. He thought he was going to do some metalworking, so I have a bunch of rusting iron in the backyard. But I got a lot of copper.
Another cool thing is if you can find some coins, like old silver coins, silver's actually better than copper is. So, the more precious, the better it is at the antimicrobial.
Well, and less corrosive, too.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
it's funny you mentioned the copper, too, Yeji, because I actually have, being in Georgia, I have a lot of more problems with my wet palette than I think a lot of people do. And now that I've got that piece of copper in here, though, I haven't had any problems.
Another thing that is actually recommended by Masterson is you can put, like, in a large jug, not like a small cup, but a large jug that you're mixing up for your thing. If you put, like, a few drops of bleach, not enough that it'll actually fuck with your paints, but it's just enough where it'll actually kill off any of the microbes that enter, especially for you brush lickers that use a wet palette.
Oh.
What? You got to get some tongue practice in.
No brush licking.
You wish someone would. You wish someone would lick your brush. Might save on batteries.
No, I converted to electricity now. It's USB, so I'm good.
Yeah, except when you kids run off with all your USB cords.
Well, what's worse is when it just dies.
Oh, that would be horrible.
That is really frustrating.
That's like going from sexually frustrated to sexually homicidal. No, you fucking bastard!
That's why you don't get a USB chargeable one. You get like a regular chargeable.
Yeah,
no, that's where
like wall plug.
Yeah.
No, that's where you go and you get yourself one of those nice 10,000 or 20,000 mAh rechargeable battery packs, and you just plug the fucker in, turn on the battery pack. That should last you. I mean, hopefully you can knock out an O in that amount of time.
Oh, son of a...
Or maybe not. I mean,
Damn it. Just
I guess it could get desensitized with age.
Oh, son of a bitch. God.
You've met my mother?
Fucking hell. God.
Okay, then,
Piece of shit.
Ma,
I'm busy. Go away.
the air pressure just caused the door to open spontaneously.
What part of go away, I'm busy did you miss?
Every single syllable of it, apparently.
Guess who that is?
Is it anger management?
Yes. That would be DS. Affectionately known as Demon Spawn.
They call him Mr. Personality. All right, yeah, so some fucked up news come across today. A big Euro DJ passed away at age 28. That was kind of crazy, and it was someone that actually I listened to quite a bit. You know, there's not a lot of them that have made it mainstream in the U.S. You got like Skrillex, you got David Guetta, and you have Avicii, and yeah, that was kind of weird seeing it come across that he had passed away. And I don't know. I know he had some health issues, but I don't think that's what happened.
And I saw that too, and I was like, "Oh, damn, he was my age."
Yeah, well, he had already had his gallbladder and his appendix and some other stomach stuff removed, and he had a real bad drinking problem, and he did have some health issues. But I read the message from Skrillex, and reading that, I was like, okay, I don't think it was a health thing. He's like, I wish I would have known. I would have given you another big hug. And I don't know whether to take that as I didn't know I'd not see you again. I should have given you a hug, or
was he suicidal?
Yeah, and you just needed a friend to talk to and stuff. So it's sad. I mean, this has been a rough year on like musicians that I've thoroughly enjoyed growing up and in the recent years, and it's like, damn, come on, y'all, get help, talk to someone. Seriously, reach out. Just be like, hey, you know, like in my journey, today is 1 month, marks 1 month that I have started on my medication, and I'll be upfront with everyone here. I had anxiety and depression. I started taking medication again. Now we're working on blood work and looking at possibly increasing the dosage a little bit. And I don't regret that decision at all. Not one bit. I am actually completely and absolutely happy with the decision that I made to go and get back on the medication that I was taking and everything else, because it has allowed me to bury the hatchet with a lot of stuff that I was angry with, and has allowed me to be less anxious about stuff, like looking forward to going and painting instead of feeling anxious about not getting stuff done, not being able to do this. You know, part of the reason I haven't been getting stuff done is just because I was so anxious about not getting stuff done. I know it sounds like a really weird circular argument, but that's what it's like living with like severe anxiety. And the anxiety led into depression and everything else. And, you know, it's one of those problems where if you're having issues, get it taken care of, because it will make you a happier person. This isn't, don't believe the stigma, oh, I have mental health issues, I must be weak. Some of the strongest people I've ever known, actually almost all of the strongest people I've known, have had some form of mental health issues, because it's the people who care, the people who problem solve, the people who have dealt with the shit that end up with these type of issues, the people who work hard, the people who have OCD, the people like that, the people who do art artists are notorious for having severe anxiety and depression issues. And if you're feeling that, don't feel like you can't go get help. Don't believe and don't buy into the stigma that getting help is bad or you're a weak person because you're getting help or any of that stuff, because that's bullshit. Go and get checked out. Go talk to your doctor. I did a questionnaire and and they're like, here, try this. Come back in a month. And that was it. And I felt so much better. And I mean, I've asked my friends, it's like, hey, how have I been over this month? Has things been easier with me? I personally thought things have been better, but I can't be the judge because I'm looking at it through rose-colored lenses. You know, I could be like, oh, things are great. And Yeji's like, you're a fucking dick. You know, so I asked my friends, I asked Yeji, I asked everyone. It's like, hey, how's it been over the last month? You know, so don't buy into the stigma. If you have issues, if you have a problem, if you need time, if you need someone to talk to, reach out to someone, talk to them. If you think you need medication because this is an ongoing problem, then do it. Then just go and fucking do it, because it's going to make your quality of life so much better. The problems that you're having, you know, if you're having a problem with your art, you'd be surprised if you're having real bad anxiety, how much that will solve just by going and getting, you know, I take one itty bitty little 10 milligram pill a day, and, you know, it probably needs to be bumped up to 20, and that'll probably be my final dosage, because I don't want to be a zombie. I want to still be there. If something truly pisses me off, I still want to be like the new Confrontation Kickstarter we'll talk about in a little bit. But I don't need little petty shit fucking bugging me. I don't need hysteria. Not hysteria. What's the word that I'm looking for? Paranoia. Anxiety leads to paranoia like fucking hella bad. Hey, Yeji, you haven't talked to me in 3 days. Are you pissed off at me? Are you upset with me? Did I do something to make you mad? And Yeji's like, no, dude. Yeah, I was at a conference and I was busy. And it sounds like a joke, but it's fucking true. That's how anxiety can lead into shit. You start thinking, oh, that person must be mad at me.
It's no joke.
Yeah, it really isn't. So I'm going to get off the soapbox now, but seriously, if you have problems, if you have issues, talk it out. You know, talk it like you walk it. Talk it like you... I'm in a music mode. Sorry, I was listening to music before I came down here. But seriously, talk to someone. Talk to a doctor. Talk to a friend. You know, if you need medication, get on it. There's nothing wrong with it. One, nobody has to know. I'm being open with it because I want to be I want to be an example. I want to be an example of the person like, hey, it's cool to be on medication as long as it makes your life better. If it truly makes your quality of life better and easier to deal with, then do it. So I don't care. I'll put that target on my head and be like, hey, I'm on medication to make my life better, and there's not a fucking thing wrong with it. And I dare a person to tell me there is.
Surprised how many people are, you know?
Yep.
And they just keep it on the DL. They just keep it on the DL, and that's fine. If you don't want to put your stuff out there, that's fine. You know, I'm doing it for a different reason. I'm trying...
Yeah, the problem is the personal stigma, right? Not really if you want to or not to communicate.
Exactly, and that's how it is. Don't buy into the stigma. Don't buy into the negative hype about this. Just take care of yourself, because that's the important part. Now, do we want to go ahead and do the Kick-Ass Kickstarters now, or do we want to roll into them later on? Let's do them now, because if not, we're going to start talking about the hobby topic and everything else, and probably not...
Kick it to the curb.
Yeah. Actually, Yeji, what have you been up to? No, actually, Yeji has been super busy with work and her headache issues, so she hasn't really gotten a lot done.
But next week...
Oh, yes. Now, what do you have coming up?
Next weekend, we have Level Up Expo coming up here in Las Vegas.
Woo-hoo.
And Level Up is like games, like video games, cosplay, kind of like Comic-Con.
Cool.
But like the Las Vegas version, so it's more, so it's smaller.
Does it have more boobs?
Does
it have more boobs and more dancing and singing?
Maybe more boobs.
Okay.
Like maybe more tits out. Maybe on the street.
Yeah, tits out for geekdom.
But yeah, I got together with a couple of other gamers in kind of like the financial and real estate industry, and we were going to actually have a panel about leveling up on home ownership.
Sweet.
Very cool. Very cool.
Woohoo!
That's interesting.
Yeah, and if you're in LA, if you're in Las Vegas next weekend, it's May 4th through the 6th. We're going to be speaking on the panel May 5th, the Saturday, from I think like 4 to 5 or 5:30, something like that. And we're also having a Switch giveaway too. So if you're thinking about moving to Vegas, give us a call or give me a call.
I'm actually really jealous about. I want to win a Switch. So I just have to move to Vegas. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. I know my
easiest Switch ever.
I know my what.
Hey, when you do, you have a great insurance agent.
What's their name?
No, just saying.
Oh, that
Ouch.
was cold.
Professional burn.
Their name is Yeji Kim, and her office is on 6181 South Rainbow Boulevard.
Nice save.
And their phone number is 702-272-2020. Give me a call for a quote.
Good professional save. All right, so Jim, I'm almost afraid to ask, what have you been up to this last week?
Well, let's see. Earlier today, as in they started about 2 o'clock this morning, started an experiment with terrain, because forget all that Kickstarter stuff and everything. This is terrain workshop right here. That's what we're doing.
Terrain, dude. Love it.
I've been seeing a bunch of these different tutorials on YouTube, a lot of model railroaders, and I'm seeing materials, everything from, what was the most exotic, was chinchilla dust.
What?
That's not actually that. Yeah.
That was one of
Do they actually kill chinchillas and like
Dust them?
their bones is the dust?
grind them into dust, and it makes excellent terrain.
Ooh.
No, actually,
Excuse me?
just different.
No,
Excuse
that's not what that is.
They just were using wood filler, and I thought, wow, this is kind of neat because it has. I've
Hold
been
up.
using plaster mixed with glue.
You didn't know about wood filler?
I'm like, I think we talked about this like 20 episodes ago.
This is I'd never seen it before, and this is kind of a new brand. It has more texture to it. I've seen wood filler before that's just kind of like spackle, but this is not smooth like spackle. This basically has wood fiber in it.
Ooh.
And the reason they focused on this was 3 things: the texture, the strength, but it's flexible. And I needed that because I'm doing these lengths of roads, some of which are about 3 feet long, and they're gonna bow. They're gonna be as I'm moving these things around. They're gonna flex. And if I use my plaster stuff on these, that plaster is gonna go popping right off of there.
That makes total
The one
sense.
you use for the hardwoods.
So yeah, this is the. So I got these all these links of road, and I needed something where I could carve in sculpt in the tire tracks, the kind of the mound in the middle of the ruts.
Oh. Go and watch dude from Boulder Creek Railroad. Like, seriously, he does that type of shit all the time, and his work is mind-blowingly good. I'll have to get you his link.
Already subscribed.
Okay.
One of the ones I was watching.
Yeah,
But
that dude's freaking amazing.
When I say watch a few tutorials, I mean somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 over the course of weeks, because they're only like 10 minutes long.
Well,
15, 20
his.
tops.
Yeah, well, his are usually the longer ones. He only comes out about. I hate it. I really wish he would come out more, because he only publishes like once every couple months. But every time he does, I've yet to not learn something from the dude's YouTube channel. Every video I've learned something. He rehashes some stuff, but then I'll be watching it and I'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. Oh, that's cool. Didn't think about that.
Yeah, so that was. I was already pretty tired leading into this because I had done a live session with the oils again.
Saw that.
Working with that bust, and this time around I got to play with some brighter oil colors. Because most of what I've done with the oils is historical, steampunk, or they're fantasy figures that are just, they're centaurs. It's all flesh tones and horses and fur. So it's pretty much like historicals, just with horse. It's all kind of in the same color palette. This is the first time I've finally gotten to use the oils. Like, I kind of used the acrylic paints for a long time.
Nice.
And I got to use phthalo green, phthalo blue, the quinacridone magenta, all kinds of really fun, bright colors together on the same thing for the first time. And that was just, I was having so much fun. I think that lasted about 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. So nothing like finishing that off with several hours of terrain testing for day. Now that was today's blog post, because I know that the bolt action guys, they're wanting to make roads, hedgerows, all this kind of stuff, and foam core, well, you can't really use that because as soon as anything liquid-based touches it, it just warps, which looks kind of funky. Your roads look more like ramps, or like they're skateboarding or something like that.
Right.
And you need something that's flat, but yeah, these I wanna get the shrubs on either side of them so that units can take at least some kind of temporary cover instead of, oh look, they're on the road, let's shoot them. And because hedges tend to be on the side of roads, and I want to experiment with doing puddles in there, because I must have seen at least 5 or 6 tutorials just on doing the puddles. And it made me realize it's more about just, you're not just putting water in a hole, you have to have the darker stuff around the outside where the water's evaporating. And that's actually where the one lady was using the chinchilla dust and grout and all these things. Basically, instead of spending $3,000 on all this weathering powders to cover all this space, she was using these other things that kind of act like weathering powder. They're all earth tone. She was using those.
I have a question. Does someone have a bird?
Someone see the guy.
I have a puppy.
That
could have been it.
Can you hear the puppy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is the puppy
I thought
dying?
it was. Yeah, I thought it was like some bird squawking in the background.
The puppy.
He's a little.
Yeah, let me.
How does rubbing alcohol expire? Like seriously, how does
It
It
rubs
loses
out of
its-
existence.
It loses its potency
it's 91%
as an
alcohol?
antibiotic?
I ain't using it as antibiotic.
Who knows?
I just happened to notice maybe that's when the plastic bottle expires. Like if you've ever seen a expiration date on a bottle of water, the water doesn't expire, the plastic bottle does.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Weird facts in history.
And this, children, was what gave everybody cancer in the 2000s.
Rubbing alcohol?
The bottles, plastic, never mind.
Oh. Yeah.
It was a long shot.
Spastic plastic.
All right. Yeah, I saw.
You've seen that plastic-eating bacteria, right? That they accidentally made? I'm like, yeah, that phrase should not have been in there, I'm just saying.
They accidentally made a plastic-eating bacteria.
But that's a good thing. Then it'll eat all the plastic, and there will be no more plastic because plastic isn't biodegradable.
Oh, there's actually a new plastic they just came up with that.
It's made out of yucca.
Yes.
Yeah, there's plant fiber stuff.
And it's super strong, except if it gets wet. So you can't go grocery shopping in the rain with it.
Yeah.
No, like that was the first thing.
It dissolves.
It literally dissolves. Like as soon as it gets wet, like if you could toss it in your toilet and it'll dissolve instantly.
Cool.
So
And you can drink it.
yeah. So I wasn't joking. Like you can't go shopping in the rain. You can't. The bag will dissolve. But if it's dry out, yeah, it works great. I wouldn't use it for cold objects because condensation is a thing.
Right.
All right, so let's rock into a couple Kickstarters that are currently on our radar. The first one will be the Confrontation, which I actually did a written Kick-Ass Kickstarter because Adam...
Let's do a confrontation.
It's confrontation. Yeah, it is
confront confrontation.
Confrontation. Oh God, here he goes.
Wasn't
again.
that a super old game?
Well, this is
Yeah.
This is supposedly for version 3.5. So it is an old game. It used to. It was originally released in France. The new one's actually in France as well. The problem with it is, one, it's a little sketchy because they don't show any real pictures of the models. I'm going to go check. But it's Confrontation Classic. This is supposedly for version 3.5.
Did you see the latest info where they talk about how they're going to do these on sprues? It is going to be some form of plastic, I guess.
Oh, I could tell you it was plastic. There's no chance in hell that this thing was going to be resin or metal, because here's the thing. Funded in 2 hours. It's currently at 782,000 people with 2,495 backers. Almost said something else, but all right. Now this is okay. They do show some pictures, but they're not up close. And the bad thing about it is the old school Confrontation were amazing. Go check out Jim's recent blogs over at Wapalicious. And because he's been painting a lot of Confrontation, the old school metal stuff, they were amazing. They were first high-end, oh my god, models out there. They were boutique models before boutique models were a thing. And the fact that they switched over to plastic and they're going to be a little less detailed, not a huge deal because the game was actually fairly fun. It just never caught on real big. Now, this is the 4th time this game has tried to been resurrected. 4th time they have tried to resurrect this game. Keep that in mind, because that's actually kind of important. The game was pretty decent, but the miniatures were the huge selling point. And the lesser quality is not a huge deal, but at the same time, you can't have them looking really shitty. The first major problem that is highlighted by this is that there's one tier to purchase. And it is for everything. For $400 fucking dollars. 400.
370 plus 40 to $50 shipping.
It's $395. $395 plus the $370 sold out, and I don't base my stuff off of early bird. And they're calling for a November 2019 delivery, so they want a year and a half to get this. All right. So, problem 1, there's one pledge for $400. Problem 2, it is both expensive and too cheap at the same time, because it's 178 miniatures before any unlocked stretch goals. And as of right now, eyeballing their unlocked stretch goals, there's easily 20, if not 30 models. So this even lowers this number even more. They're at a price point of $2.26 per miniature. So they're too expensive and too cheap at the same time. What do I mean by that? It's $400 to buy in, and that's all you can do. That should be pretty self-explanatory. And the models are $2.26 a piece before you factor in the new 30 that just unlocked, which knocks it down to under $2 a miniature. Okay, so $2 a miniature. What does $2 a miniature buy you? Bones. Nothing.
It's actually not supposed to be bones. This is what they said, because they just did a new thing today. Somebody sent me a link to it. They said they're not doing metal or plastic or metal or resin for the weight and other things. They said they can do it at this price because they're using existing sculpts and they're not paying any sculptors to sculpt anything new. They said that's where the savings are coming from.
So that's...
We assumed it was going to be bones because, hello, what are bones miniatures? $2 a piece, right?
Right. Well, even if they're injected plastic, I'm just gonna throw this out there too. It doesn't matter if the sculpt. Okay, yes, they have 200 miniatures that are already sculpted, so they don't have to pay the sculptor fees. Awesome. They still have to pay the milling cost to have injection plastic molds made, which is more money than paying the fucking sculptors. You're talking $300 divided by the 700,000 that they've made. You're talking about $2,500 per miniature as of right now. That's not enough to cover mold costs, unless there's something. Okay, yeah, that's actually
I was going to say,
cheap.
Is there something they can use? I was going to say, are they using the metal molds or something?
They can't use the damn pancake molds unless they're doing spin cast resin, or
They still have to do tooling.
Yeah, but they said they're not doing resin.
Well, if they're using, if they take a page, and this is another red flag, folks. This is a big fucking red flag. If they're taking a page from GW's book and using a fine cast-like material, where if they use a pancake spin mold, which is what fine cast is, it's a pancake spin mold, just like the metals used to be, and they're utilizing those, and those are about $500 a piece to make, and they wear out after about 100 miniatures. Keep that in mind. Yes, then that's possible, but that also means that they're not doing good plastic. They're doing shitty plastic.
No, those are shit.
So,
and they are fucking horrible to clean up and work with.
I'm just looking at this entire project going, I really don't see where the money's going to come from, and they're going to have to cut corners somewhere. And I absolutely cannot recommend this Kickstarter at all. There is so many red flags. The only thing I can say that's good about it is a red flag, and that's the fact that the miniatures are so inexpensive, and that's probably the biggest red flag there is. They shot themselves in the foot by not dividing this package in at least 2 different packages. They have 16 factions. You're buying all 16 fucking factions at once. Stupid, dumb fucking decision. Knock them down into four different packages that people have to buy. Oh my god, then you put the 4 most popular armies, 1 in each one of those factions, and then you put one of the least most business. Because you have removed me as a customer, because I'm not dropping 400. 100? Maybe. 400? Fuck off. And, maybe I could find a group of people. I can maybe find 8 people, and we all chip in $50 a piece, and then, of course, hoof up some more for shipping, and then we divide the packages up. That might work, and that's the only way I can recommend this, is if you have an 8 or 12 person or 16 person play group, and you're dividing this up at $20, $25, $30 a person. If
I have a feeling that's the point.
It's stupid, though. This is fucking dumb. How many people do you have in your play group where you live? I can tell you, I don't have fucking 16 people sitting right here. Jim in Chicago might have 16 people up where he lives, but the typical gaming group isn't 16 fucking people. This was poorly designed, this was poorly thought out, and this was just a stupid decision. There's absolutely zero chance that I could recommend this. There's too many red flags.
I have a counterpoint.
Okay, please, feel free. Counter.
No, I mean, I still think it's stupid. Let's agree on that. But I have a feeling, do you know about cost-sunk bias?
Say that again.
Sunk cost bias, sorry. When you've invested so much in something, you feel kind of obliged to make something with it, either continue with it or actually use it. Well, if you invest in this, you get so many miniatures. But you know what? You also get Confrontation, a game that's kind of, well, everybody, from what I've seen, everybody likes it. Nobody plays
it. If everyone's liked it, why are we on version 3.5?
Like
why has this game died 3 other times, and this is the 4th rebirth? This fucker's like a gimpy-ass phoenix that keeps going, and then being reborn in some way.
That's the point.
They didn't. Here's the problem, is they're outpricing almost everybody. They are outpricing. Do you know how many more people would do this if I could go, hey, so-and-so, you buy this one, I'll buy this one. This way we can actually play. Now, even if I only have 4 people, I can go, hey guys, do you want to chip in $100? And they're going to be like, fuck you, buddy. I can't. If your play group's only 4 people, that's $100, $125 a piece. And a lot of people are just going to be like,
I know, but now
it's going to be like, no. If you really seriously want like 100 and something miniatures and you have $100 to invest, wait for Bones 5 or whatever, or better yet, the Kickstarter or the newest Bones is still open. Just fucking jump.
I was gonna say Bones 4.
Bones 4 is still open. Just go and fucking spend your money there, because then you at least know the quality of miniatures that you're going to get. Or better yet, if you really want some actually pretty decent miniatures for the price, go out and get the damn pre-primed miniatures from WizKids. Those are fucking great, and they're like $5 a piece.
Yeah, they're not bad, actually. I saw those the other day. I was like, whoa, shit.
I totally agree with you.
I could have had those when I was growing up.
Maybe that's what they're thinking.
But the problem is that, yeah, for the people who actually invested in it, they might be like, I'm going to go out and support the game. That's great. But for everybody else, it's just kind of like, ooh, here's the thing. I bought a $200 box set of a Ninja Turtle game, and in October, when the other one launches, finally, Cityfall, I'll invest in the $150 to $200 package in that, because I'm a super fan of the Ninja Turtles and the board game. But you know what? For people who are not a super fan, they have a $60 box set that has half of the stuff, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of cool swag in it. And for the people who just want the basic game, they can buy the $60 version. For the super fans, you have the $200 version, and that's the point.
Yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot there because the price points.
That's the point that I'm trying to make, is the fact that they're only pandering to the super fans of this game. They're not looking at everyone else who might not be like, oh my god, I want 700 fucking miniatures, I want every fucking army. There's some of us out here be like, hey, I just want werewolves, or hey, I just want this one, or hey, I just want this one. And that's where they've shot themselves in the foot. This is where they did a dumb. They're not looking at the casual players and they're also not thinking about eventually wanting to put it in stores. What the fuck are you going to do? Okay, here's another huge fucking red flag, and I don't know if anybody else saw this. They said it on their own fucking Kickstarter that if they were going to list everything at MSRP, when they put it in stores, it would be $1,200 fucking dollars. So where the fuck are they saving the other $800 on this $400 Kickstarter? Where are they cutting the corners to not have to... for this $1,200 game to give it to you for $400? Because I'll tell you honestly, in manufacturing and everything else, that makes no fucking sense at all. Their markup is not that goddamn big. They're either A, they're funding a lot of this shit out of pocket and hoping that the game store sales are huge on it, or B, they're going to cut corners and you're going to get blobs of plastic and they're going to look like ass.
Well, if you already got the sculpts, it all sounds like a little Rakiesca Timpachin for the whole game. Like, alright, this is the last time we're gonna try it. Let's go.
Yeah, but where's the money coming from, bud? You're telling me that they're gonna make molds, and they're not even done with the stretch goals. They're gonna make molds, every single miniature, for $2,500 a mold. Bullshit. That's not gonna happen. That is way too much. That is way too cheap for fucking milling costs on a metal mold, for an injection plastic mold. A cheap one is $5,000, and you know this. I know this.
Yeah, that I don't know how they're doing it. I have no idea. The only thing I'm saying is they're probably saying goodbye to it.
Okay, I will give them this. But here's the thing, they're cutting this super, super fucking close. And someone's probably like, fucker, they're probably putting multiple miniatures in a mold. Yes, you're probably right. They're probably putting 2 or 3 or 4 miniatures on a sprue in a single mold. And that is a very valid point, listener who brought that up. Thank you. But in all honesty, even at that, where you're having to look at shipping costs, because this shit's being made in China. There's no... I cannot foresee this being made in any first world country for the prices they're charging.
I was wondering if you were going to talk about that, because I know the bone stuff is, and the thing is though, also the bone stuff has been held up in customs because of coming from China. They gave themselves, you get a lot of logistics.
They gave themselves 18 months, which is actually probably the smartest thing, unlike other Kickstarters. People who like to try to cut it to a year and no one ever fucking gets their shit in a year. But they're also looking at, like, as of right now, 220 or 210 miniatures. And by the time this thing ends, it's probably going to be 230, 240 miniatures that they're going to have to mill out, make molds, fucking injection. There is 3,000, almost, or 2,500 backers who are actually backing it for the full kit and caboodle. That's 2,500 kits that they have to make. That takes time. Actually, sadly, though, it'd probably only take 3 days.
There's actually another issue that kind of a stealth issue they're going to have. As the person who has had to paint at least 70 confrontation miniatures over the last 2.5 months, I can tell you that, because I was prepping more today, and on that little metal sprue it said Rackham 2001. These sculpts are from a long time ago, and at that time they were revolutionary. They were like somebody who came from another planet.
They actually still, these are 17-year-old sculpts. They still look good today. They were actually,
well, they still look good, but they have some issues. Yeah. When it comes to painting these things, you start to go, well, what in the world was that? What and when it's recast and resculpt, you're going to have more issues where, what's that random bump right there?
Oh yeah,
what was that?
Oh, because it'll get exacerbated, and you'll be like, yeah.
because they're all used to the ZBrush stuff, the digitally sculpted things, and these were sculpted by hand. They were sculpted with Fimo, a very fragile material, which was going to be cast in lead. Mostly, it was at least 30% lead or something like that when I first cast these, because all of these things were designed. The reason they were so innovative is that Fimo let you cast more delicate things than green stuff, and now they sacrificed these miniatures. Once they vulcanized them, they basically just exploded, and that was it.
Aww.
And actually, the sculptors had to sign a 3-year agreement that they would not sculpt for anyone else, because they were trained in the Rackham way of painting, the Rackham way of sculpting.
Rackham actually was the first miniature company to bring non-metallic metallics hardcore to the United States and most of Europe. It was a very French technique, and it was not utilized. Rackham and Confrontation was literally where non-metallic metallics came from into the mainstream. A couple people were using them here and there, but for the most part, people were like, we're going to use metallics. That was the thing. That was what everyone used. When Confrontation came out, they're like, oh, these are non-metallic metallics. This is how we paint stuff. This is how it is. That's where the real hardcore contrast comes from. The non-metallic metallics come from. A lot of the modern painting stuff literally was brought to the United States and most of Europe by Rackham. That was cool. The big thing. I remember looking at these going, holy shit, I've never seen this used on a miniature. Like, if you look at a White Dwarf Golden Demon issue circa 99, 2000, and then look at one in 04, the painting in that 5-year period just fucking skyrocketed because everyone was trying. OSL was a thing. That shit was not used before Rackham. That was another thing that Rackham brought. Honestly, Confrontation was an innovator into a lot of the stuff that is widely considered normal now. We're going to blow out the contrast a little bit on these models. That was a Rackham thing. OSL, that was a Rackham thing. Non-metallic metallic, that was a Rackham thing. It was all innovated by that one company. It was really fucking crazy. Go back and look at the packaging. The packaging with the painted miniatures on it from the original Confrontation from Rackham back in 01. And the miniatures, and then go back and look at some of the original Space Marines from 2000, 2001 on their boxes. Look at them. No, seriously, I'm not joking. Look at them. Look at every other company circa 01, 2000, what they were putting on their boxes, and then look at what Rackham did. They upped the game. When they came out, they were revolutionary. But that would also be like trying to bring out something that was revolutionary back in 2000 today. And it, like Jim's saying, how well is it going to translate? Is it going to translate well? Is it going to burn, die? Are they actually even going to be able to take some of these and put them into metal molds? Or are they going to end up having to hire sculptors to re-sculpt these miniatures into ZBrush to be able to do it? That's something else. That, yes, the sculpts already exist, but are they going to use the 3D scanner, scan them, and then have a ZBrush artist go in and tweak the designs a little bit to make them where they're actually compatible with an injection mold? Because I'll tell you honestly, some of these are not going to be.
They showed something where, because they have to, they said about this process. They said to get them on sprues, they cannot be broken in the same place that they were broken in the early days when it was just, some of them were 1 or 2 piece metal figures. They said they have to alter this, and of course, again, a lot of the original sculpts were made out of Fimo, and that I can't believe. It's hard to imagine how many of these actually survived over all these years and through the casting process.
They're dealing with at least
masters.
Gen 1, if not Gen 2 masters. But I really, honestly, here's the thing. I'll tell anyone, do not invest in this. I cannot wrap my head around how this is going to be successful. But if this company manages to do it, I congratulate them. I really do. I see too many red flags for me to feel comfortable to put my own money into it. If I had $400 laying here, and I would not put it in Confrontation, and I liked Confrontation a lot back in the 2000s. I would not put my money into it. I'd take the $400 and go and hit eBay and find the metal miniatures that I want, and I'd buy those. That's what I would do. because it would still cost me less than $400 to buy my entire army. Yeah, and that's just how I had to look at it. They're not new. That's another problem, and another big point that people are bringing up is, I already own my entire army. Why the fuck am I buying 16 other armies plus the plastic of the one I already own? This, I honestly don't think it was thought out very well. I think it was piss poor planning, and I cannot. There's so many other Kickstarters. Someone was like, should I do Street Fighter or should I do Confrontation? Street Fighter all day long. And yeah, I'm biased because I do have a friend that works there, but I think the miniatures look fucking amazing. I think the gameplay looks like it's going to be really fun. They're pre-painted, so you don't have to worry about it, but if you want to paint over them and repaint them, not a problem. Yeah, Street Fighter all day long. And then...
Yeah, well... the other thing is, like you were talking about the different levels, I really dislike these Kickstarters with only the one all-in level, because maybe I just want to, paint them, or maybe I just want to check it out and try it before I invest, and then if I like it, I'll look for it aftermarket or something, and they're not leaving you any room
and
for
here's
that
the
at
thing, another deal on this is that I don't mind if it's all-in, if the all-in makes sense. If I'm dropping $100, $50, sub $100 on an all-in package, and that's what you have, and that's your cheapest, okay, got it. I can see that. Anything more than $100 on an all-in, unless it's a board game like Gloomhaven or something, then that is just ridiculous, because you're only going after the super fans. What would have happened if there was something from Kingdom Death Monsters like that I wanted one thing of? I couldn't get it because it was built on the super fan philosophy. Right, Yeji?
Yeah. Even then I would still go into it, but that's because I'm a super fan.
If you are, it's fine. I mean, it's fine if you're a super fan. There's nothing wrong with being a super fan. There's nothing, and it's great to appeal to them as well. But the point is that there are other people out here that maybe want to, just paint a few of the miniatures. No, I mean, so it's...
Yeah, having the option of choosing what you want to buy is so much better than, being forced to make the choice of all or nothing.
At a certain point... Yeah, at a certain point, and I would even say up to $100, you're okay going all in or nothing, because then logistic wise it makes sense. $400 makes no sense at all to be an all or nothing Kickstarter. That does not make any sense at all. But anyways, enough harping about that.
Well, I think that's really
I think
steep,
we've beat to this horse into submission. I think everyone here knows that we do not agree with this Kickstarter. I'm seriously kind of scratching my head as to how the hell does it have so many backers.
I don't know. I saw a lot on Twitter. People like it. They're going for it. And I'm like, well, I can't. It's too high, and I've got too many other Kickstarters right now. But I guess if you make more money or something, I don't know.
My thing is a lot of my friends were like, no, I'm not going to do it. It looks stupid. I don't know. I really don't know what demographic is backing this Kickstarter. Probably all of Jim's clients. Jim's going to have like 7 of these sitting on his doorstep going, paint these. I'm actually kind of not joking on that.
No, that's why it's funny, actually, because it isn't really a joke.
Jim's sitting there going, fuck, I didn't think about that.
Actually, the person that sent me all the confrontation stuff, he is not going on to this because he's convinced that they're just... Because he knows, he's worked with the metal stuff too, and he remembers all the wonderful things that came along.
And that's why Jim is painting them all now.
They weren't so wonderful. Because he has a bunch of, I think it's the Durs faction or something like that, where they all broke at the ankles. We actually had to ban painting confrontation stuff for, well, I think it was around 2004. We said we can't paint this stuff because we can't ship it because it's too fragile. We had God knows how many things snapping and shipping, and we just, all right, that's it. We can't use this if we cannot be shipped, because they're using the same shipping method for all the other stuff, and that all gets there fine to any location on Earth. Try doing these things, and even today, these things, they're still breaking. There was things that broke in my hands today that he shipped me, and I was just all I was trying to do was put them on a base, and the thing is breaking in 3 different places. Kathy had one break while she was painting one. that the pressure of the brush should not be enough to break a metal
That
miniature.
is true.
Oh, jeez. That's
So,
very true.
These are things, it's been
agree on
long
that.
enough for people to forget that. Because that was many, many years ago, and at the time, people just said, oh, these are beautiful, though. They're so new, that's why we just kind of have them. And there was a time, like Cool Mini, if you just posted anything that was Rackham, you could basically shove it in your toilet after you took a dump, flushed a couple of times, and look at this confrontation miniature I did, and it would get at least an 8.7. Because it was confrontation. You could put turd on the lipstick instead of lipstick on the turd, and it would have worked back then.
But the times they are a-changing.
And then people are used to a different thing. We'll see. We'll see how this works.
Like I said, I just don't have a warm fuzzy about this, and I really don't have a warm fuzzy about this one at all. Nothing about this Kickstarter makes me go, this seems like a good idea. Like, I try to find a positive about everything. Like this, I can't.
I don't know. I am also getting kind of fed with the excesses of Kickstarter. I mean, it's so much junk.
I know, Heriberto, so much chibis.
Oh, right. Yeah. I kind of forgot I did that too. Sorry.
Says the guy that sculpts for all the chibi Kickstarters.
All your chibis belong
All
to
the
me.
all the chibis are sculpted by me. Now, once again, leading off, I did mention it already. The Street Fighter Kickstarter, they broke 1 million, and they've unlocked a lot of stuff since we talked to JT a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't recently, go check it out. Cammy's out now. That was a big one. Everyone was like, Cammy, yay! So a lot of people are happy about that. Wow, people weren't joking at fucking all. Why have I not... I've been airbrushing since 2002, and I never thought about using rubbing alcohol on my airbrush. Wow.
What?
Shut up.
What?
I thought you were the one that told me about it. No, that was Jeji. Never mind.
No, I'd been using Windex forever. Holy crap, this paint like literally just fell out of it. Shut up, Yeji.
Yeah, rubbing alcohol is really good. Windex is too, but you need to leave it there for a while. And it might be more caustic to several kinds of seals.
Possibly. Wow. I really hope this is all paint and none of them are seals. Wow, the amount of paint that just came out of that cavity. Woo! Wowie. Right?
That's what
Whoa,
she
don't
said.
put it
That
there.
happens.
All right, so we talked about Street Fighter. We discussed Rackham or Confrontation. Any other Kickstarters?
Did I talk about Super
No,
Chibi
you
Round
haven't.
4?
Thank you.
Nope.
I meant to.
Super Chibi!
Which is
Super Chibi!
Support it so I can sculpt more of that.
It'll be 3 more days that it's open as of us
so if you
releasing
hear us
this
before
podcast.
Wednesday or maybe even Thursday, go and definitely go.
Go check it out because there's also a pledge level that's still open. There's one more pledge for me to paint all of the core
Hey, did they
chibis.
ever unlock the bust?
Ooh, even better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they just did.
Oh my
It's
god,
at
that's news to me.
$37.84
Yes.
right now.
I'm
So
not going
they
to
just
lie.
broke
As
it.
much grief, and if anybody who's been a long-time listener, I have given Brian a lot of shit on this channel. He sent me his midnight bust. And yes, Yeji has a couple issues with it. I personally don't. But it has been amazing.
Which
Right.
Heriberto
And it
is the sculptor
absolutely
of.
just a fun fucking miniature to do and work on. It's been amazingly fun to paint. I'm actually getting ready to reprime it and then paint the entire thing again. And Bert,
Oh, you still haven't gotten
well, I
into it.
screwed up the skin whenever I was I screwed the skin up painting the hair, and I also want to do a tutorial, because a lot of people were asking me. They saw the pictures and they're like, "Can you do tutorials?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reprime it, because it took me 45 minutes to get to where I was at.
I thought you said 2 hours.
True. Okay. So.
Because you said 2 hours to paint and
okay,
2
so
hours
yeah,
to
2 hours.
assemble.
I mean, me starting over again and taking a little bit of time, because it was a lot of me playing around. Like the hair, it looks good at a glance, but if you start looking at it, it doesn't look as good as it should.
Yeah, there could be more.
Exactly, and like I said, this was me playing around. I actually always kind of had it in the back of my head that I was going to strip this one. It was either just going to be a really quick and done, but when everyone was like, "Hey, can you tell us how you did your skin, or can you explain why you did that with your skin?" I decided I was just going to reprime it, start from yellow, and do probably a live cast talking about the steps that I go through for the skin, and then I'll probably do another video for the hair.
Dude, it's just, the whole skin thing is freaking awesome. I mean, I think I did mention the last Hangout. I was not expecting
a lot of
method.
people didn't, and that's why people were asking me about my method and why I do what I do.
Which on one of the bust Facebook pages, there was a request for a bust. I mean, he wanted to see if there was any painting podcasts or channels that did only busts for like talking about how to paint them and challenges.
You could direct them to us. I mean, I do
like
paint
that.
a lot of busts.
I did, but I was like, so is this a bust request? And he's like, I'd like to have it all centric around busts, but... So, one of these days,
I mean,
we'll
I do
have
paint a lot
episode.
of busts, and I do talk about them. Like, I got like 5 or 6 different... Like, if you look at even my goblin, my goblin shaman that I did, or no, the goblin jester, if you look at some of the early steps, it was the same way. I hit it with purples, and then I hit it with... I hit it with yellows, I hit it with purples, I hit it with some reds, and then I applied the green. So I painted even the goblin the exact same way, with almost the exact same colors, but instead of using flesh tone over it, I hit it with a dark green instead, and it still allowed it for the same thing. So that's a cool thing about this method, is that it's actually very adaptable to all the different methods, or all the different skin tones that are out there. The one that I would say that it probably would have an issue with is darker skin tones, like maybe like an African American type skin tone. But even then, it should still honestly work. So, all right. So we've talked about a bunch of different Kickstarters, more than we typically do in a given year. Herb,
Questions for
explain to the
Heriberto.
people
Hi.
what you do.
What's up? You give me
There
money,
we go.
I give you
Podcast over.
Yeah, everything's on. No need to
Okay,
talk about
so
anything.
Heriberto is a digital sculptor. This is the new medium that's been really taking over the industry, probably for a while, probably last 10 years, but it's really become a big, big thing in the last 5 years. A lot of places were used...
When did you start? Sorry. I said, when did you start sculpting digitally?
Believe it or not so long ago. I think
see?
it's been like 5 years
So-
at the most.
All right, before you became a digital sculptor, what did you do?
Well, I was trained as a graphic designer and an animator, and I used to do both. I did a lot of video game graphics. Nothing fancy. This was in the times that cell phone games were getting better. Certainly, cell phone games were something you had in your phone, or you requested by sending a
Farm Quest.
a message to
no,
a very
what is it?
strange catalog.
What was the Farmville? Yeah, the real big one, Farmville.
Farmville.
Send me corn.
Farm Quest
Send
sounds
me
kind
a
of cool.
pig.
Yeah, stuff like that. But all of a
I think
sudden,
you just killed Amy.
Are you okay?
Ow.
All good?
She's like, when I was your age,
was
I
out
used
in
to
a
play that.
field,
On paper.
and we used to call that the farmer's market.
Well, so I did a lot of work for video games. Nothing super special. I used to do a lot of pinball video games. But I got my chops in 3D with that. Then I, strangely enough, got into education. And I started as a teacher for video game graphics. Then returned to my background in animation and became the director for an animation school locally. Then I got fed up with the actual... I mean, I like being a teacher, but I got fed up with everything else. So I decided just to become a teacher and a sculptor and founded a little company called Marching Atelier. And we've been sculpting, me and my partner Hibran. We've been sculpting a lot of games.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm
Okay.
33.
All right, that's a dirty tree.
He's a dirty tree.
I'm military. We actually say tree in the military.
Sorry.
Oh, do you? Oh, you're also military. There's a lot of guys in the group that are
Yes.
military.
There's more nerds in the army than you would think. Yet you didn't know I was in the military?
No, I knew some of the guys in the group were military. I knew Sarge was because and I didn't know.
Two tours
actually.
and
Or you might have let it slip in a comment or something, but I just
2
didn't
tours in
remember.
Iraq. I served with the 101st Airborne Division. I
Wow,
guess
pretty
if you
cool.
call getting blown up and finding all the IEDs that everybody else missed cool. Yeah, it was great.
No, as in military cool. I have an admiration for military training, discipline, and character.
This raging asshole wasn't. I wasn't born this way. They made me this way. Suddenly, it's like
They brought a monster.
You sure you're not a Lady Gaga song?
maybe.
But yeah, that's the lowdown of it, and now we're sculpting miniatures left
Now
and
you
right,
have
and every
been
topic
sculpting
available.
a lot of stuff, and now though, here's something cool. We may be having at Models Workshop something done from Heriberto and everyone here. Hopefully, maybe soon. We've kicked over a couple ideas, and he's actually
both
liked
are.
both of them. Now we just got to. They're
Make it happen.
like we joke around a lot about various Kickstarters. There seriously may be a game-oriented Models Workshop Kickstarter as a tie-in to another system as an expansion one of these days soon.
A new
No,
faction, the Larry faction.
The after
Models
hours
Workshop
crew.
Guild.
There we go.
Yeah, dude, you could have a card with powers, and it will be super amazing. I mean, JJ will have the Vegas.
Yeah,
Giggle.
like we're seriously we're looking into. Hey, check your Facebook Messenger, Heriberto. Yeah, like
Me?
we want to
Okay.
sit down and design. Well, basically, what it's going to be, if it happens, is it's going to be all the different hosts of the After Hours podcast who's been around for a hot minute, and we're going to talk to a game company out there and about
awesome.
doing a tie-in. It'll be an official expansion to an established game, but our crew would be the After Hours crew, and we would be a team within said world. And we would have stat cards, we would have the entire kit and caboodle. So we're going to be talking over with person, and I don't foresee a problem. So, yeah.
So yeah, count on me. I mean, whatever happens, I already have told you guys I will sculpt something for a podcast. I mean, I like the podcast. For a long time, I kind of ignored the Patreon, mostly out of forgetfulness. I finally put money where my Patreon is.
And that is
So,
patreon.com/Models
by the way,
Workshop. All the money that you give do go to upgrades to the podcast and buying some pretty neat stuff. Like this last month, we picked up a whole bunch of stickers that I'll be sending out to the different patrons here soon. They're actually Models Workshop After Hours stickers. Now, these are Series 1s. I ended up getting them die cut because I wanted to... It was kind of a boo-boo. But anyways, so... these may be the only ones that we ever do that are die cut, or if we do other die cut ones, they will not look like a big mushroom. But maybe that was on purpose, Yeji. You didn't think about that?
What's wrong with die cutting?
Did you see them?
No, well, yeah, but I mean, I thought...
Yeji...
I mean...
It looks like a mushroom.
It's kind of actually part of the reason why I didn't change it. Plus, but I got some holographic ones and I got some normal ones, and so those will be going out to the patrons first, and then I'll be figuring out what to do. But that was all brought to us because of the patrons, and every so often,
so
you can get one. You're a patron. You get you get at least one for free. No, but every.
Well, yeah.
I'll probably have some for ReaperCon too.
Now, a couple things that we're looking at in the future is we're looking at a collectible statue. Possibly for our higher end patrons, they might get a copy of the tie-in expansion for free. Other stuff. We're looking at possibly live casting for our patrons. That is definitely still on the boat. I actually need to do some testing out this weekend. I don't have anything planned tomorrow, so I'll try to get it done. But we're definitely doing more stuff out to the patrons, and the higher tier you are, the more it is. Like, I'll tell you honestly, the people on the $5 or $10 tier, they can, like, one of the guys that's on the $10 tier is sending me his airbrush to service. Yeah, no, he's paying shipping, but yeah, that's the type of, he's like, hey, I'm having issues. Can I send you this so you can look at it? Because you're about the only person I know would be quantified as a well-known person with this particular airbrush. And I was like, sure, yeah, go ahead and send it to me, because we don't have some of these tiers where we have painted models and we give away this type of stuff. Because honestly, I'll just be truthful with you guys. We're super busy, and I can't promise a painted miniature every month to give away. Jim can, because Jim paints full time. This is a hobby for me. I don't. Yeji doesn't. Me and her both put in somewhere between 120 and 140 hours a week between the two of us at our jobs. We just don't have the time. And
not the same job, just to be clear.
And
you just
and no, yeah, I was about to say that. And no, we are not married. Yeji and I have never actually met each other in person. I know it probably blows people's mind, because it's surprising how many people go, Yeji's your wife, right?
Officially blown.
No.
Clint's over here rolling his eyes.
Oh.
No, not today, but like whenever that comes up, he's like over here rolling his eyes.
Yeah, it's funny as shit, because I sent her one, and my response back was like, no, she would have killed me already. And her reply was, yep, I sure would have. But no, we're just super busy, so we can't be like, hey, yeah, we'll paint a miniature for you. But here's the deal. $5 or $10 tier, especially the higher end, the $10 tier people, we're looking at getting stickers. We're looking at t-shirts now. We're looking at all this stuff, because this is what people have asked for. People that are passing out stickers with each other and sending stickers, and people love them for their display cases and their walls. I have a sticker wall. I legitly have a sticker wall, and I have people like Hobby Hangout, CK Studios, Bombshell Miniatures, Brickworld, Magic, The Brush Wizard, Mike and Jeff, Pirate Lad, Smog Riders, Rockstar Energy Drinks. Actually, no, he's never sent me one, so I don't. I have Miniature Monthly.
You will get some stickers soon. We made some stickers for the Magical Girls Kickstarter. Just because we're nice. But I'll get you guys some once again.
I have Kaha Miniatures from Didier. I cannot even pronounce his first name. The guy he's a traditional sculptor. He did the Ninja Turtles. I have his stickers up on my wall. Wreckage, I have their sticker on my wall, and this is my wall. Other people have them. They slap them on their display case, they slap them on their storage thing, and that's just a cool way to, I know people who see my sticker wall and they see, oh, how can I forget this? I have Metalhead Mini stickers on my wall. I have two of Lynn's, because I got two of her stickers up there. I got Wrathcore up there, and I put those stickers up there, and I know people I tell people, it's like, hey, look, send me one of your stickers, and I put it up on my wall because that's my unboxing area. Because right now it's down, it points down, but eventually my idea is to have an over-the-shoulder. So my sticker wall is going to be in full view. And I'm like, hey, send me a sticker. I'll pop it on my unboxing area. It's not an empty thing. I'm literally like, hey, this is kind of free advertising on my videos because I like having a sticker wall. I collect enamel pins, so those are up all over my wall too. But, right?
Your sticker is gonna be on my drafting table where I keep all my stickers.
But, nice.
Send you a picture.
Ooh, baby. I don't know about that. Last time I sent someone a picture,
that's not
they end up
creepy
shoving
at all.
Ooh, a stick.
It's a stick
pic, baby.
Wah, wah, wah.
But, it starts off with stickers, and then we're moving on. Like, Amy, her microphone came because of our patrons. We use the money to upgrade our equipment. I buy software with it, hardware with it, so.
We update our...
we use it to pay for the website because we use it to pay for our web hosting fees for Libsyn, because that shit ain't free. That costs us money. And with the new show, the reason we're able to expand it and actually get more content on there, a lot of people, the biggest complaint was whenever we were putting out one show every 2 weeks is we want more. The patrons is the reason that we're able to actually take and open up the UK show the way we're able. The
patrons are.
Yeah.
The patrons are.
The patrons are the reason that we can bring on the UK show. The patrons are the reason that we can have Just the Facts every week, because I have a certain allotment of space that I can upload to. I actually had to pay extra over what I was paying to increase the amount of space that I have to upload to fit all the new shows. And I'm able to do that because of the support that the patrons give us. So I think we've begged enough and said, hey, this is what we're doing. We're really seriously trying to do some cool stuff for you guys. We really are. And we're always accessible. And it's one of those things, if you have a problem, ask anyone. If you message the Models Workshop page, we might not get back to you right then, but we get back to you. We talk to you. If you have a question, we talk about it. If it's a question that we cannot solve, ask how many people have received a friend request from me so I could call you on Messenger and talk to you and try to explain it because it was too much to type. Ask the people who I've done that for. And not all of them.
That's a beautiful...
That's actually, it's not even all to patrons. I should make it a patron-only thing, and I might in the future, but I've had people who don't support the podcast, and they've asked me and they've called me. And I'm like, and I'll take my time. Tips are appreciated as well if you're not a patron and you need a help, Just, But anyways.
Yeah. When you love somebody.
Talk about a tangent about a sticker. Get that big old stick pic.
Yep. Yeah, just send you my
stick
pic,
man. If you want a stick pic, message Models Workshop at facebook.com/the Models Workshop. Make sure you smash that like button to let us know that you're a fan of what we do, and I'll send you a stick pic too. I thought it was pretty clever, but whatever. So Jim, what are you doing? I know we have a guest on. Jim has this real bad habit if we have a guest, and it's actually really sweet. He's like, it's about the guest, so I'm not going to talk that much because I talk a lot. But it's like, right, Jim, you don't understand. No, the funny part was whenever we were getting the podcast going, Heriberto was like, hold up, Jim, James Wapple? That's the Jim? I was like, yeah, who the fuck did you think it was? I didn't figure. I was like, how many Wapples do you know?
Well, they're apparently...
Boba J. Wapple.
Ones that paint?
Yeah, he paints.
Your sister's face doesn't count.
Long time.
I can already see this one. Hey sis, you need to listen to this podcast. I'm gonna get this very angry message in Spanish cussing me out and puto and yeah.
A ver, cabrón, vente acá a ver si están
All of our
chidos.
Spanish listeners are probably getting a giggle right now. And we do have them. Like, we actually have an audience over in Spain. So there's yeah.
Oh, man.
Of one?
No, actually,
of
Andrea
Heriberto in
Miniatures.
Mexico?
A lot of the people over at Andrea Miniatures listens to the podcast. That blew my mind. I was like, really?
All right.
Dude, like, it blew my mind. Because I've bought their products before. And we started talking on. They followed me on Twitter, and we started talking. They're like, "Yeah, we love the podcast," and I was like, "You listen to the podcast? Yeah, it's."
Yeah, what they're not telling you is that they're actually using you for colloquial American.
Dude, I don't care.
So
I'm a huge fan of Andrea Miniatures and have been for years. I love their products. And I do have to, due to FCC regulations, I do have to say, they have sent me a swag bag that had a miniature in it and some basing material for review purposes and a DVD. Okay, now Yeah.
Wait,
because that can be construed as a sponsorship.
Like...
I actually have to declare the fact that they have sent me stuff, and because I'm giving them positive. Now, I will say, in all honesty, anybody who knows me knows that I'm not saying this because you can ask Lynn. I bought their products from Lynn through Metalhead Minis before we started the podcast. I have a couple of their miniatures sitting on my desk that I had bought before we ever started this. I've been a fan of their work forever. They have some of the cleanest pewter miniatures that I have seen. They are absolutely beautiful. You should seriously check them out. Their miniature, 54 millimeter, just pure absolutely beautiful stuff. So no, I'm not saying this because they sent me a couple items to do review on. I'm saying this because I'm a fan of their work and I've loved their work. Is everything they have perfect? No, but most of the stuff is. Now the bad part is it is 54 millimeter for the most part, so it is a larger scale, which I don't know if that's a bad thing because these aren't like game miniatures; they're actually display, and that's how you have to think about it. These are display quality miniatures.
If anybody in Andrea Miniatures is listening, I just want to tell you, we are not worried.
Not what?
Worried.
Not worried.
I don't think I've ever
Really?
reviewed any of the Andrea Miniatures.
Good stuff. Especially the historical.
Yeah, they're. I try not to look at their stuff because it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, they're historical, and some of their. I think they're the ones that do the Babes one too, right? Not the Babes, but
No. Babes is Bombshell Miniatures.
No, they have pinups.
Yeah, but I am thinking.
Yeah,
Bombshell,
yes, they have historical pinups.
Yeah,
so you're looking at like World War II era pinup type stuff. Yeah. Like
yes,
actual
like
fucking pinup miniatures, like actual pinups. A lot of them you can actually recognize. Like if you look at them, you can recognize them from historical documents. Like they use a lot of poses and whatnot that were actually like famous ones from magazines. Like there was a lady. What's that?
And nose art.
Mm-hmm.
Nose art too.
What's nose art?
Nose art is what they painted on the bomber.
There is a couple of their pinups that are modeled after the nose art from some of the bombers. Some of the more recognized one, like a lady in a bathtub, I believe is one of their pinups, which was also a famous piece on a bomber. But they also have some really cool fantasy models too, and like seriously, they're dangerous. Now they're not cheap either. They're like $40 and $50 a miniature, but like I said, they're
holy God! Look at this knight.
She said, "I try not to go. I try not to go." Oh God! Oh my God!
This is why I don't look. Okay, I gotta turn. I gotta shut this. Oh.
You better go. You better go charge it up.
No need for.
You better go charge it up. Sounds like it's gonna be a busy night tonight.
I have night envy.
Is that kind of like penis envy, but with a suit on? Well,
with a bit more of Deus Vult in it.
No. That would be I love knights. I've always loved, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and all that shit, and that's what got me into miniatures in a way, because of through the D&D way, and then you go into the first Warhammer shit where you got,
Yep. Okay,
the
so
Tonians,
now,
them?
all right,
Yeah.
who here knows Shaggy, the song "It Wasn't Me"? Yeah, the guy sounds like he's from Jamaica.
It wasn't me. That one?
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Do you know Sting? Sting and the Police?
Yes.
They put an album out together.
Yes.
It's Sting and Shaggy. It's called 44/876. I don't know what the numbers are supposed to signify, but it's like it just came out and I saw it and I was scrolling through the new albums and I saw it and I was like, what? What? I had to scroll back up and it's like, is that the Shaggy? I think it's the Shaggy. Is that the Sting? Yep, that's the Sting. I think it is. What the fuck? So I'm a Prime member and it was a Prime album. So I was like, yeah. And also I pay for the Prime Unlimited. I was like, fuck this, download and listen to it. And it's surprisingly pretty good. There's a couple songs on there that are really exceptionally good. So and they bring their own flavor to each of the songs and they actually blend really well together.
I'm not surprised. Sting has done a lot of collaborations.
But this isn't
with,
like a
different
song
artists and stuff too, you know?
This is an entire fucking album. This isn't like they did one song together. This is literally an entire album with the deluxe version of the album. This is a huge, I think it's like 16 or 17 songs. It's not like they got together and did a song together. It was the craziest thing. I just happened to see it and I was like, okay, this is either going to be amazing or this is going to be really, really bad. And it turned out to be really, really amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
I probably don't want to know
wasn't
because
me,
you're probably going to make me feel even older than I already am. You're going to make me feel almost as...
Please.
I was just going to say, on Netflix, there's that new movie. It's the Netflix-only movie with one of the guys from Pitch Perfect.
16 songs. That's me changing the topic. So, okay, so Jim, as someone who's been painting miniatures for a decent amount of time, talking to someone who does digital sculpting, what is something that you could give an advice to the digital sculptors out there to be like, hey, as a painter who paints more than everybody else on the show combined in a given week, that you could improve on? What are some, like, you have Heriberto here. If you had something you could want to tell him, what would it be?
The one we've discussed this a lot, Kathy and I, because we know some people who sculpted the traditional way and green stuff for many years and then started to use the digital sculpting, and we can spot a digital sculpt. I mean, we could basically be in a coma blindfolded and we go, that's a digital sculpt, because you can tell there's certain things about organic things, the width of things, you can tell that it was extruded, pressed, whatever, as opposed to the green stuff. And you can always kind of tell, and the ones that can trick us, they are like gods, because they can utilize that digital thing and just, they know that sweet spot between making things very realistic, but somehow they're able to get that organic feel, like they've actually taken a sculpting tool. Because I think what happens is a lot of when we call it ZBrush abuse. I mean, literally, it's a syndrome, ZBrush abuse.
Yep.
And they must have gone in and got a $2 thing on Thingiverse or Poser or something like that, and they're just going to stretch and, believe me, there's miniatures where I said, don't send me those anymore.
Tell me the flip about that. We get a lot of work in the studio that goes something like this. I'm kind of in an asshole at doing this voice, but the original client says, so we got everything sculpted, but it doesn't work. Can you check it out? All right. Most of the times people tell me about that. It's completely unprintable, unmoldable, it's worthless, and we have to resculpt their whole range. And sometimes I get super angry because I see so much shit work in this line of work, and they even have the goal to charge more than we do.
Oh.
Because it is brutal, the some of the stuff that we see, and then there's physics, because ZBrush will let you do things
that are not doable.
A certain company that tried doing Western style figures with cowboy hats, and ZBrush let them do these nice thin brims, and all of a sudden they got a whole bunch of fezzes. All their cowboys were wearing fezzes. airbrushes with tassels on them, and had them come from Turkish cowboys or something like that. Because
believe it or not, that even has a name, and it's one of the biggest problems with ZBrush is that it's really good, it's perfect, it's a beautiful tool, but what you see in the screen, it's really not what you'll get. And it's an endemic problem because sometimes, even people that actually are backing Kickstarter say, "Oh my god, this miniature looks amazing. It looks super beautiful, and look at that detail."
I bitch about that all the time. And there's a company that abuses the fuck out of that. Raging Heroes has a real bad habit of posting up fucking digital renders. Man. And this is why I will say from the rafters, if they only have digital renders up there, be weary about buying them unless you know what you're looking at as a miniature painter or as a sculptor, and if you can look at a model and be like, okay, that's doable, or even be like, hey, Heriberto, can you look at this? Is this doable? Does this seem like realistic? Because they like to over detail. If you look at a digital render and it's got a kabillion details and it's got these really fine details. You need to wait till they actually cast something, because more than likely it ain't gonna look like that. They're gonna end up with fezzes and they're gonna be Turkish freaking cowboys. Ye fucking ha.
And there's the buckle apocalypse too. That's the other thing that I found out. When I did play with ZBrush a couple of times, and I was putting what I thought were pipes on this thing. It turns out they were felt buckles, and it was a brush. It was a brush with felt buckles.
Oh my god, the abusers of the IMM brush. No, please.
It was. We call it the buckle apocalypse because you could make an entire. We were thinking of having a buckle golem, where it's just a miniature that's nothing but a bunch of buckles.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of stuff Japanese character designers will have a G's over with. The problem with ZBrush is that the way I see it, if you want to be good at it, you can. It's not difficult. I don't think I'm doing anything extraordinary. But here's the thing. I have a feeling that you should really... And I actually did... I mean, it's not because I did it. It's just that I think it's a good way to sculpt traditionally first. Like, try to produce a miniature in, I don't know, green stuff, Fimo, Sculpting. Sculpt traditional and digital. Actually, digital is new to me. I used to be also a sculpting teacher, and it was really fun, really good times. But what I think was really valuable, at least for us, and I'm speaking here for the entirety
He's
of
literally
my
meaning
office,
us,
two people,
us too.
Us. Gibran and me. And by the way, Gibran, my partner, is a really kick-ass sculptor. What we did was basically screw up our first production. We did this character called Katlinka for this thing called Republic Miniatures, which is a project that I need to get out someday. We have all the sculptures done, and we haven't gotten the time to sit down and do a Kickstarter. But, well, that's near here, not there. What we did was sculpt something that looked super beautiful on the computer, and then we spent a lot of money learning the hard lessons. But here's the thing, it was super worth it. The way I see it, I got an education right there. What I see in a lot of Kickstarters, especially Kickstarters, there's the hype sometimes doesn't let people see, like, the sculptures look pretty as renders or as video game characters.
If they're going to Kickstarter, they should at least have some of them printed out. Because there's no fucking excuse. They could go to Trenchworks, they can go to Impact, they can go to any of these people, pay them the small fee, and at least have a couple of their pictures to show on their Kickstarter. Sorry. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
Not everything.
You can have renders. I don't care, but sometimes it's. Sometimes the hype wins. I mean, I sometimes see Kickstarter and say, yep, that's not gonna work. I mean, the other day Look, have you seen this Kickstarter called the Awful Orphanage?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright. I'm gonna ask the client, but I want to use that as an example because they had sculpted the entire range. And I just said a comment in a forum, I don't know which one. Said, you know what? I think you should revise those miniatures. Then we started talking.
I like this. He's like, I'm going to talk to the client. You're on a podcast. You better.
Well, the guy is really nice. So, No. I mean, he already had shown some miniatures, and he already has
I know. I'm just busting your balls. It was funny because you're like, I need to talk to him. But anyways, before I do that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
No, I'm telling public information here. So, and I gotta tell, what I want to see if I can do is show the original miniatures, because god damn it,
I would say avoid that because honestly, that is, unless, okay, if the guy who sculpted it was the guy who did the Kickstarter, then I would not, because
no, that's why I'm considering it. And
people make mistakes.
Right now,
people make mistakes when they first start out.
And stuff. But I was thinking about, like, between. Look, here's how you can tell.
Going,
like
hey, bud. I know. I looked at your models. I've been doing this for a while.
Out, like,
I got hired to resculpt them, and I'm reaching out to you not to be like, haha. But I'm going to reach out to you and be like, hey, this is what happened, and this is why they have to be resculpted, so they can use it as a learning experience. Don't sit there and make it where it shouldn't be a shame game, because I'm not going to take something you painted and post up and be like, guys, this is an example of what not to do. Oh my god, look at this. How would that make you feel? Make you feel like shit, right? Would you ever want to paint again?
I actually had to tell somebody the bad news once. He had done a Kickstarter campaign, and I was able to save it for him because we ran into, sort of like a confrontation sort of thing. I think Dwarven Forge started up the campaign, and he went from stretch goals to not funded in about 2 hours, which was unfortunate.
I'm back.
So what I had to do was basically try and save his campaign, and then many months later, when he was ready to, I guess, print out his first master or whatever, he said, well, I've got this, like, I can do the $3,000 one, the $5,000 one, or the $12,000 one, and he said, well, I have no money to do the $12,000 one. I said, well, if you do the other two, you won't have any money after that either, because your master, I've seen the rasterization, the stair steps, as we try to paint some of these things for people. And they are painfully obvious, especially the more oblique the surface is.
Are we talking striations?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you can see those. I paint a magnifier, so anything that there is.
Some of them
7 times.
Here's the thing. Also, if you're getting a master made, at least do some precursor striation removal. If you're getting 3D prints, please.
A good 3D, a good 3D printer actually. I mean, even a Form 2 gets you pretty good results.
Yeah, there's some people that don't do that, and I'm just like, speaking of which, I need to go talk to one of those people. But no, I know what you're coming from, Jim. I didn't realize that they had that many issues. When I looked at Dwarven Forge, it was doing incredibly well.
No, this is not. The Dwarven Forge is what killed his Kickstarter. Because everyone pledged $2 million in the first 10 minutes.
And that is a sign of why it's better to do a short Kickstarter over a long one. Because you want to get that money and run.
Well, I know people...
Oh yeah,
I know people that did short ones, and they still got.
And that's another big problem when you're launching. And that's another big problem with a lot of these big companies still utilizing Kickstarter as a pre-order system, is they're fucking over all the small companies. That's why I'm so hard on Cool Mini. That's why I'm hard on a lot of these people, Steam Forged and every one of them. At a certain point, stop using Kickstarter because you're fucking up people. You know, as much as I bitched about the Harry Potter Kickstarter, and I'm not going to get back into it, they did it right. They had a pre-order set up on their website, and they took it that way. I respect them for that. I don't respect the fact that they... Yeah, I don't respect the fact that they waffled back and forth, and they bungled what should have been an amazing launch. But I do respect the fact that they utilized a standard means of doing a pre-order. And more companies should look at that and embrace that. And they're not. They're just like, Kickstarter, Kickstarter, Kickstarter. And it's like, stop. Just stop with the fucking Kickstarter. At a certain point, after your $10th million Kickstarter, if you're not making enough profit to do your own product at this point, you should probably, like, close your doors, because you're not doing anything good.
Yeah, I sometimes get really angry at Kickstarters. I mean, if I'm going to buy something...
a lot of these people are they're literally
sometimes.
using Kickstarter as a pre-order, because they have the shit made. You can't tell me that Cool Mini doesn't have 80 or 90% of the stuff already done and designed by the time they launch a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, everything has art. That's a big... I mean, everything has art and a 3D
Half
model.
of them already have
At
prints
that moment, you're ready to go to production.
and painted examples. I mean...
Whenever a company asks me to do a painted example or whatever, or somehow attach myself to it, I say, look, I have to have 4 things. I have to have the concept art. I have to have the render. I have to have a print, and then I have to have my painted thing, because it's a side by side by side by side. They need to see the whole process. How closely did this match the concept art? Did it not match it at all? And the ones that can, I just said, sorry, I can't, because by painting the figure, I'm essentially doing a review.
Yeah, because Lord knows if you change one thing on a sculpt, some people fucking lose their mind. Dick Dragon. Bad Dick Dragon.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I have a pet peeve about that whole thing. Why are people getting so stupidly entitled about stupid sculptures?
Dude,
I mean,
the
I'm
thing
a
was,
sculptor,
there's only like 2 people that were really that angry about it. Some people bitched a little bit, like, hey, that's uncool that you changed it, blah, blah, blah. You should have told us before. But that was it, and that's all they were doing. One person was like, I want a fucking refund, and da-da-da-da-da, and I can't remember the dude's name. Oh, God, that's a shame, because I got into it with him, basically, because if I remember right, I think I told him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but I'm talking in general. Have you noticed how...
Dude, there's a huge...
people get crazy,
we had to start Chibi-tastic because people were getting into yelling matches over 2 different fucking chibi companies. Yeah, fucking Chibi-gate of 2017.
Yeah, let's talk about Chibi-gate.
Oh my god.
I'm calling it ridiculous.
Like that now,
and it caused all the big name painters to leave the Chibi group.
I wasn't there. I actually came into a trend and said, huh?
And if you want to know where all the big name Chibi painters are currently, they're sitting over at Chibi-tastic. You can find that at just Google Chibi-tastic, or ask Mark Yeji or I.
Yeah, it's a good group. It's a good group, Facebook. And I'm working hard not to spend
And technically, yes, everyone there is a Models Workshop person, but it's technically not a Models Workshop thing. It's its own little off-to-the-side type deal. It was originally made to be a Models Workshop thing, but it was originally for the discussion, or for the Hangouts. It was why it was made. It was for people, so people could coordinate the Hangouts. And then the Chibi-gate happened, and Mark was like, fuck all y'all. No, he didn't. But he was like, I'm done with the negativity. I'm done with all this crap. I'm done. So I was like, hey, Mark, we have Chibi-tastic sitting over here. Let's bring it back. And it's not as big as the other one, but we're growing, and it is, for how big it is, we only have 100 and something members. We talk a lot. We have all the talkative chibi painters and all the elite really chibi painters. Mark has won multiple golden brushes from Crystal Brush. Well, he didn't win the gold Crystal Brush, but he did win gold at the Crystal Brush, if that makes sense. I don't want to boost him too high. People are like, you won a gold Crystal Brush? No, he won gold in the chibi competition, which is still fucking amazing. I mean, it's and he's done it more than once. And then we've got Drew, we've got Yeji, and I know I'm forgetting someone. Yeji.
The girl with I'm sorry, this woman that has a mouse avatar that paints beautifully. She did the Wonder paintings.
Right. There's exceptionally good painters, and we do lock down. It's all about positivity. It's so no negative shit. We lock down on all the negative shit. It's like this is for anyone who loves chibis to come and hang out. So, and it's chibi-tastic. So
awesome.
Oh yeah, we have both.
Oh yeah,
Drews
I forgot.
Too.
Oh, that's right. Drew Olds did
Drew
join.
Drescher and Drew Olds.
I forgot I was actually painting chibis now, and holy
But dude, Drew Olds has been converting chibis to Kingdom Death chibis, and they're freaking amazing.
Oh, the lion one.
He does all the conversions. I'm actually going to commission him here.
I actually did not realize
hopefully
that was
by
the
the
same
end of the
person,
year as
I'm
like
a
a
fan
Christmas
of
present to
the
myself.
painting gnome. I've been a fan of his for a while now. I didn't realize he was doing a lot of chibi work too.
Wait, painting gnome?
That's what it is.
He's
Ninja Garden.
Ninja.
It was the garden
Ninja
part.
Garden Studios.
That's what it was. All right. Yeah, it's same. And he's putting out some good shit.
And then Jason Turner's over there.
Jason's a good guy. He loves to fucking rib me. I swear to. Okay, so something happened, and what was this dude's name? Andy Wardle? Cult of Paint? Okay, so this is, and I fully apologize to Andy. I think he's actually going to come on the UK show. So as you can tell, it's all good now. But holy shit. So what happened is they have a limited Cult of Paint Infinity airbrush. It's black and gold. It has the Cult of Paint logo on the side. And it looks sweet. I'm not going to lie. And it looks a lot like my Grape Ape. Same aluminum body, everything else. So it's a good airbrush. And if you're a fan of Cult of Paint, definitely check it out. But he put up something and he was like, the only way you can get a 0.4 millimeter airbrush. And I sent a message. I posted a message. And I was like, hey, bud, just to let you... I didn't say, hey, bud. I probably should have, because he might have taken it as... He thought I was trying to be negative. But I was like, hey, you can get a 0.4 by going to this website and just ordering a custom airbrush. Ask anyone who's seen my custom purple Infinity. And he took it like I was trying to be negative about them having an airbrush. So he didn't realize that you could actually special order an airbrush with a 0.4 in it. Which is the point that I was trying to get across. So I took it when he replied that, oh yeah, we knew about that. But he continued to tell people the only way that they could get a 0.4 was to buy their airbrush. So I was like, well, the airbrush is sweet and it's great. And it's got your logo, so your fans are going to buy it. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why are you telling people this bold-faced lie? Because to me, I'm looking at it like he admitted that he knew that the only way that you could special order a 0.4. And I'm like, dude, you can't. So I'm getting a little irritated about this because I was like, why the fuck are you lying to your fans for? And your followers? That's kind of a dick move. So I tried messaging him again. He deleted my post. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I went to my thing and I ended up tagging him on Facebook. And I was like, well, since you want to delete it over on your Instagram, you can't delete this shit. And I was like, why the hell are you lying to your people? Well, he eventually sends me a private message. And he's like, dude, I didn't realize that you could special order a 0.4. He's like, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that's what you were trying to tell me. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, when I read your comment, I took it like you knew that they had made a 0.4 and you could special order it, and you were like, fuck it, we're going to do it anyways. He's like, no, I didn't realize that. So I apologized to Andy Wardle. It was one of those things where I kind of was like, hey, rah, 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 and we both ended up learning from it. And everything is totally cool. Andy's he's a really nice guy, and he's a really amazing painter, which is really what made me wonder why he was trying to do this, which he wasn't. But it was just a misunderstanding. Like I said, he's a cool guy. Check out their airbrush. I'm not going to lie. It's a nice color combo. And if you're a fan of... I'm a little jealous. I would love to have the orange Models Workshop branded Infinity airbrush. Maybe I should make some phone calls. I should, because I've sold enough Infinities. I can't count on one hand how many Infinities I've sold to people. Yeah, and I sit there and I know of at least,
do run like a dream.
Over 5 people that I have sold Infinities to. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, and I've sold more Sotar 2020s, and I've definitely sold more 105s to people. But this is a $350 airbrush. This isn't something that's cheap that people go, oh, I'm going to go buy it. This is a very thought-worthy investment that you have to make.
I like how you had to sound British for that.
My British came out. But no, so yeah. Fuck it. Maybe I should call. That would be pretty sweet. Basically the exact same thing that they have going, except ours would be orange and it'd have the Models Workshop logo on it. And maybe Models Workshop with a crossed brush with the Infinity logo. I might have to do that actually. That's for real. That would be actually really nice. But anyways, yeah, Andy's probably going to come on the UK show. Him and Peter were talking, and everything is going good. So, that should show. But it's funny as shit. Fucking Jason goes, okay, so Harry Potter, Ben Comet, and now let's add Andy to his trigger list. Freaking some people, I swear, I can't. My friends are more horrible to me than my enemies are. Who's triggered Larry this time? Now, Jason is one of the fans of the podcast and everything else that I've actually met in real life on multiple occasions. I'm
so mad you met
Chris was cool.
Jason Turner and Chris Schmidt before
I was glad
me.
I was able to hang out with them. It was like literally the last thing I did before I left Adepticon. I just got done hanging out with Mark and Paul and another guy who I can't remember up at the bar/restaurant area, and I was like getting ready to leave, and I was like, Chris, where are you? Because we kept missing each other, and he said he wanted to hang out, and he's like, hey, no, different Paul. I did meet Paul from Trenchworks too, and he's freaking awesome.
Oh, okay.
He was really cool. He's really witty too. I would love to have him on the podcast at one point. I think it'd be fun to have him there. Actually, probably bring Heriberto on here too. Y'all can. Well, it's funny because I started talking to him and I was like, "Yeah, you remember so and so and so and so and so and so?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, we directed him to you." And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, you're that Larry that directed so-and-so to me." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Like, after seeing their work, if anyone needs rapid prototyping, especially after hearing their prices, Trenchworks. Oh, their sculpts are fucking clean.
Trenchworks good.
You can go straight from, and I shit you not, you can go straight from printer to production. There is no... Okay.
It almost just looks like there's wood grain or something in the
you can't tell
in the model. Like,
dude, there's no.
Most of priming gets rid of smaller restorations of any 3D printed output.
Impact stuff still. I still get striation marks from it.
You can't see. Okay, I could put paint directly on a Trenchworks model. Most of them. Now, there's a couple of them that you have to, they would have to clean up a little bit, especially like around some funky joints. But almost everything that I've seen come out of Trenchworks, you could brush paint, or you could brush ink on it directly, and it wouldn't show striation lines. It would cover them. You can see them, but they're not actually physically there, if that makes sense.
I painted a bunch of their vehicles. Actually, I think I painted at least 2 or 3 of them at live sessions. I know there was the M18 that I did, and I'm actually working on their grill now. I've got that one.
So they also...
Well, that's what they did originally. They did their own models at Madara. The reason we even know about them is because Madara came on, and the first production samples they ever did was Madara. And that's how we knew about them, and that's how we recommended them for a whole bunch of people and everything else, and they've expanded since then. Some of the people that they actually do work for now is because of Models Workshop. We've been recommending them for the last 3 years. Anytime anybody needs rapid prototypes, Trenchworks, straight up. Their work, if you see some of their shit that comes directly off the printer, wow, it's fucking, it's crazy. It could, like, probably 95% of their stuff could go straight from printer to production. And the rest of the 5% needs just a little bit of minor cleanup here and there. That's how crazy nuts this stuff is. Oh, yeah. That's kind of why I also brought it up, because, that could be good info for you, because you would utilize a service that does rapid prototyping.
It's always good to know more services when on the other side, because in our studio we have we usually recommend our partners in the UK.
It's right down the road from me, actually.
I know. Sorry, Impact is here. Sorry. Yeah, historical games. I was thinking about the Kickstarter. That's why I said Impact. And by the way, I'm sculpting some of the miniatures of the Kickstarter we just did. That's why I mentioned it. No, I was trying to recall historical games.
Yeah, then there's
really
Arna Studio, but they do a little bit different.
Way over there. Yeah, I mean, Impact also does it, but it's a form.
Okay,
too.
So
it's not the same as
let's
a
just
big
put it this
machine.
way:
It's good enough
when we
things.
keep in mind when we received these miniatures from Madara, that was 3 years ago, and there was no noticeable striations once you painted them. Dude, it's a resin printer. It's not a plastic printer. It's a resin printer, and it is. I don't know, but I've heard it was. I heard when they bought it, it was 6 figures. Like, it's the Ferrari.
Whoa.
It may have been 5 figures. What was it, Yeji? Was it 5 figures or 6 figure printer?
The most perfect print ever from that.
But it was like fucking ridiculously expensive.
I don't remember.
It was very expensive. Whatever printer they had. I think it might have actually been the.
It was like one of the top of the line printers out at the time.
It's a dark green, greenish gray material that it prints. I literally have some of their stuff sitting on my shelf.
Nice.
It's a dark. I'm looking at it. Well, it's painted, but it's a darkish greenish gray color. And the striation lines are super, super thin. Like Yeji said, it looks like someone took wood, carved it, and then sanded it down where you can still see the growth rings in it, but you can't feel the growth rings. You can just see them. That's how smooth it is.
Awesome. What I've been seeing as of late also is that a lot of new. I work here and I'm still surprised at the fact that we can now also paint.
And they're getting cheaper too. You're talking a $500 printer, and it actually is not super, super amazing, but passable.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little kids like the little RP2.
I have a person a friend of mine who's upgrading his printer by printing more stuff. He is slowly. He's taking like
you can upgrade the printer
something out of the Bobaverse, the book, the Bobaverse, and he's. Oh, you did? Oh my God, We Are Bob. That is.
I just finished that book.
Have you read the entire series?
Yeah, believe it or not,
have you read the entire series yet?
I'm gonna be honest.
Creates more Bobs.
Huh? No,
it gets better.
I gotta be honest with you.
It keeps getting better, and maybe it's the sarcasm. Maybe no offense, but maybe since you're not native English speaker, maybe some of the sarcasm is not as relevant. Okay.
Dude, I know all the reference he was making.
Well, fine then. Sorry.
Dude, I've been reading English since I was like 10 or something. Now, the point is I understood it very well, and I don't think it's bad. I'm one of the people who recommended it to you. It's been recommended so many freaking times. I know, I remember. The problem is that
it's not about the world building,
and
though.
The world building was super weak. But then again, that's not
it's
the point.
Character. It is the character development, and I thought he did a really good job.
So
now, if you want to sit there and take advantage and hear the book that we're talking about, it's the We Are Bob. You can go to bit.ly/After Hours Audible, and you can get We Are Bob and the second book in the series, or another book of your choice, and that'll actually help out the podcast quite a bit. But no, in all seriousness, I've read that book. It is absolutely great. We've been sponsored by Amazon and Audible.
Are you sponsored by Audible now? Oh my God!
You can check the description. If you can't remember, you can always check the podcast description, and it'll have a link to bit.ly/After Hours Audible. You can also get one of those type of books too. Rare.
Dude. Yeah, actually, Audible's really good.
I have 400 books in my Audible library, and I'll send anyone who wants to see a screenshot. I think it's just shy of 400 books. I listen to Audible a lot. There's a reason why I recommend their service. I've been part of audiobooks.com. I was with them for a hot minute. But Audible's just great because there's little tips and tricks too. Like if you're really into audiobooks, what you can do is you go check out Kindle and see, like, okay, right now I just bought a series and it's by Evan Curry, and it is, I can't remember the series, but it's by Evan Curry and it's 6 books long. Right now the Kindle books are on sale for $2 a piece. Every book in the series. So it was $12 to buy the first 6 books. Well, you could also buy the audiobook upgrade for $2 a piece for all the books. So for another $12, I own not only the Kindle books, but I also own all the audiobooks for $24 for 6 books that are like 12 hours long each. And you can actually do that for a lot of books if you pay attention. Always check what the Audible upgrade is and how much, like, because if you can buy a book for $5 and the Audible upgrade is $2, it's usually cheaper to go that route than it is just to buy the book for $12 or use a credit on it, because each credit still costs you $12.
Yeah, there's even this strange thing sometimes.
That's what I'm talking about. Like this one by Evan Curry, what I did is I bought all 6 of the books on Kindle, and then I upgraded them to audiobooks for another $12. So for $24,
I like the bundle.
I have the 6 Kindle books and I have 6 Audible, 6 books on Audible too. And I've already listened to the first 3 books of the series, and it's actually it's Odyssey. Odyssey 1 is the name of the series.
If you want a good and fun listen, by the way, try this series called Villain's Rule. It's not what I would call like high art, but it's super fun. Villain's Rule, and here's a little non-spoiler. It's so fun, it even mocks the Audible
that sounds
narrator.
like something Pratchett would do in his books.
And that's caught me left field.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very
So what are you painting on now, Jim?
But it's good.
Right now I'm actually trying to finish off an 88 and a German crew and 2 Matildas and a bunch of other stuff so that I can film that Eras battle report. And I also actually now have to make a display board and 3 objective markers by, Thursday, because Friday morning I'm supposed to be actually able to do a bolt action tournament. So I gotta make myself that display board, and I'm just basically scratch sculpting some Panzer 1s and 2s, kind of have them in some state of destruction here, so that I can throw these out on the table. I haven't that said if I need the usual 3 objectives or not. There's been no information about this tournament. The entire Chicago area had no idea this was even going on. Little Wars has been around forever, but their website is
so it's like Badger.
Like
Are you sure it's not run by Badger?
No, you should really update your website.
Wow.
No, it's way worse than that, because people were looking for bolt action information, and it was hidden in one little line at the very bottom of the page under info for BA tourney. And when you clicked on that, it took you to some kind of Word document file that you had to download to find the critical information, like, is there a tournament? When is it? How many points? How many rounds? When does it start? When does it end?
You would think that would be something that was really big. All right, Yeji's having to bounce off if she hasn't already. You still here, Yej? All right, well, you go get some rest. I know you said you weren't feeling all that good. I think we're going to wrap up here shortly, too, because I was actually surprised I made it, because I was dead tired. But something about getting on the podcast and waking up, and I haven't painted anything, but I've been cleaning the shit out of some airbrushes.
Well, boy. And if people haven't gone and checked out Nadia Cakes on Facebook, go look up Veggeoed Cake.
All right.
You're welcome.
Bye, Edge.
I hope you feel better.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Be well.
I mean, I fully expect this to be like all other tournaments, where just all the most abusive stuff is out there, and you kind of get those people showing up. But I've done Bible tournaments, Warhammer tournaments, 40K. I just at least want to be able to say, yep, I took the French Slayer, and that's it. Yep. I never get to do tournaments because I'm always working conventions. this might be the first time in, let's see, 25 years of doing conventions that I go there as an attendee.
I'm glad you're able to
actually
downgrade.
work in the convention in some way, shape, or form.
Nice.
But it's, well, actually, one time I went there, I was supposed to just be going there to see things, and I ended up being at the Badger booth for 7 or 8 hours. So even when I went there just as an attendee, I was no longer an attendee instantly. Within maybe 25 minutes of walking the place.
Hide from Ken, so he can't pull you in.
Oh, he won't be there. I think he just did it the 1 year. It's the dealer's room there. Actually, it's really a good source of terrain stuff and Osprey books.
Okay.
It's for its size. Well, it's actually held at the old Adepticon Hotel, which is also the WindyCon Hotel. It's strange. I think I've done 4 different conventions at that same hotel. Whether they're sci-fi conventions or whatever, things that have been the dealer's room or the fantasy tournament, where the 40K tournament was, there was something else, and there's been so many different things held in this one hotel. I have no idea where to go anymore.
I've been to that hotel actually back in 2011. I think Adepticon was still being held there. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep. I remember. Because I was actually amazed when I walked in this year at Adepticon, and I was like, holy shit, this place is massive compared to 5 years ago.
Well, compared to 2007 when we first did Adepticon, and the dealer's room was a folding table and a closet, and you could have fit every single tournament. Well, the Warhammer Fantasy Tournament was held in a tent outside, and you know how spring has been this year? Well, it was that kind of spring, and there was sleet and snow and a 40-mile-an-hour wind at night as people were trying to play a tournament in a tent in a parking lot.
Sounds it.
So
sounds like it's upgraded a little bit
now, 11 years later. No, it's gotten bigger and bigger. Well, we do what, 8 or 9, at least 8 staff meetings during the course of the year, and sometimes an hour is spent talking about how the heck are we going to level 2,300 tables, and how are we going to take these, I think it's 2.5 tons of battle mats, because they're the neoprene things, and when you have enough of those to cover thousands of tables, it now weighs several tons. And they had to rent a 53-foot, that big truck trailer, because they had someone weld together several rolling units that have those mats in them, because otherwise you would need 200 people to carry in all of those mats.
You should have called me and hired me to drive the truck.
Right there.
It's a month. Well,
that was true. This weather this year has been frickin'. You should have called me, because I'm experienced and used to driving in snow.
Well, we were walking through that dealer's room at an hour when we should not have been able. We just marched right through, and I said I should be tripping over stuff, bouncing off of things, and getting my head bashed in by something that's moved. There was nothing in there. It was a ghost town. So that's kind of unusual for this time on a Wednesday. There were some dealers that didn't even get to set up their stuff.
I should contact my company and see if we can.
Because it was trapped
if they'd
somewhere in the
if we
country.
Could hire out to haul stuff in.
Oh. Well, it was all the different
oh my
companies
god,
that was like the company that Justin had the problem with. It was all these. Something happened in Denver.
Well, it kills me is the fact that the damage that was done is was a couple $100 for the damage, maybe $1,000, and all the time that they wasted arguing with him about this, and all the business it cost them is well over the $1,000 that it would have cost just to fix what was broke. And the thing is they have insurance on their stuff. I don't understand why they're freaking out about that small of an item, because I've seen what my company has comped for damages. And $1,000 is not even a headlight on my truck. $1,000 isn't even a rim that gets messed up if I have a blowout. Like, I shit you not. $1,000 is barely a tire. So I don't understand why they were freaking out so much when he had all the supporting documents to show that they did, in fact, damage it.
I know, back to the terrain stuff, I'm going to be using, I think on my display board, I'm trying to make it multiple levels, because on display board you can get more onto a small 16 by 20-ish, well, 16 by 24, I think. I'm going to try and fudge this one, just by making not even a second level, like a shelf, just actually have it go on a slope. And I have to figure out how gentle can I make that slope, how can I have room for all the things that I need room, and I have a bunch of vehicles. So I have to have a road going through this thing. So it's, well, we'll see. We'll see how this works out. Actually, I didn't even know if you're supposed to bring...
How many people are you expecting to actually show up to this thing?
Yeah, the information is minimal, we'll put it that way. And now that I actually brought up the question, and then Paul brought up the question on the Chicago Bolt Action site, there might be 3 of us, I don't know.
So
it's the tournament nobody knows about. And it wasn't until after Adepticon when Paul said, he just writes on Chicago Bolt Action, says, well, does anybody know about this tournament at Little Wars? Now, tournament at Little Wars? I didn't even know Warlord was going to be there, much less have a tournament there. So I kind of started, I said, John, so a few people that I know from Warlord, I said, guys, nobody knows, you're doing a tournament at Little Wars and nobody knows about it, including me. And what's really hilarious is that the Chicago Bolt Action crew, they're the guys that run the Bolt Action tournament at Adepticon. They run the national event here in the United States. And nobody knew that this was going on. And Adepticon is basically what?
Yeah, the perfect place to advertise, another big tournament.
Little Wars.
Nobody
knew. And there's another convention, what the heck is it called? Dragonfall Convention in October. They've been wanting us to do it for years, but it usually is opposed by ReaperCon. So that changed this year, and as I'm talking to the guy, he says, well, yeah, and then there's historical stuff, because I asked him what's there besides 40K. He said, well, some of these guys do this World War II game. I said, is it Flames of War? He says, no, it's the bigger miniatures. I said, Bolt Action? He says, yeah, the store guy that kind of puts the tournament on, it's his favorite game. They have this big thing that they do at the store all the time. Oh, and I guess there's a tournament too. I said, guys, you have to... This is the one thing I always find out about companies, is that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and the right hand didn't even know there was a left hand. And the left hand didn't know that there was another part of the body, even. Didn't know there were hands and faces and feet. And that's kind of what's usual, especially when you have things going on both sides of the Atlantic. So I can only imagine, like, these Kickstarter things. When you have to deal with both sides of the Atlantic, that's going to get interesting.
Oh, that's fun. That's all kinds of fun.
I know with the Patreon page, there was pledge levels I was going to do. And I said, well, wait a minute. I can't really do that, because trying to ship that thing to Europe, am I going to have to say, well, if you pledge to this level and you're from Europe, you got to chip in an extra $15 for shipping. So there's a lot
honestly,
of stuff
though, Jim, if you give them that information and they decide to, then you have fans overseas that would probably do it. I would give them the option. I really would.
Yeah, what I want to do is now start making, because I actually now have the ability to make brand new painting pyramid videos. And there was much rejoicing because earlier this week, out of desperation, I finally just clicked on this one thing and I need to get that Sony Vegas Pro 11 on this new machine. It has to be on here. Even having the original disc wasn't working. So because
you can go to the Vegas website and just download it.
DVD drives anywhere, CD-ROM drives.
Oh! Humble Bundle has Vegas 14 for $20 right now. It's not.
Well, I don't have any
you'll
time
be fine.
For new versions.
A lot of the stuff that it added is behind the scenes. But Vegas 14 right now at Humble Bundle, you can get it and a whole bunch of other software for $20.
Well, that's okay, because now that it's on there, I'm pretty sure that the next time I go in there, it's going to say, hey, do you want the new version of this for $29, because that's what happened the first time I hadn't opened up the software on that one machine in 2.5 years. And I opened it up, and the first thing that happened was, do you want to upgrade to Sony 14? So I'm waiting for that to pop up probably the next time I open up the software.
Oh yeah. It's the same font. Like if I open up both of them, open them up side by side, it's a little clean. 14 is a little cleaner, and it has a couple. It's all the stuff that you're used to with 11 is there in the same place, from what I can tell. But it's added a couple extra features, and the UI is a little cleaner, and a lot of the stuff is behind the scenes. Like the cutting and splicing and editing and the sound work and the multiple files and everything and overlaying still images, that's all the same. So like the stuff, like 99.9% of the stuff that you do is not going to be changed. But it's going to, like a lot of the stuff on the newer versions is it renders better, or that's the type of stuff that improved with the 11. Then it adds a couple things, like now you can do this with it, but it looks the same. Like if you put it up side by side to each other, you can definitely tell that they're the same software.
Yeah, I was just really relieved, because now that I've started using it again, and this is something that's, again, I don't want to get too many into technical things, but I tried to use XSplit to do a Facebook Live, and other technical things aside, I found out that even a 1 second delay or a second and a half delay is too much, because what I do is so interactive. It was catastrophic. I just had to kill it, I think, 2 minutes in, and just kind of do it the normal way. I said, you know what? There's YouTube. If I want to do stuff that's more recorded without the interaction, that's what YouTube is for. Now, I'm going to try and do Instagram Live, because apparently you can go live on Instagram. What we're trying to determine is, I saw online that it disappears as soon as you click done. But today I just saw a notice, I think Mr. Heroldes was live, and it's 17 hours ago, but yet it's still played. So I don't know, is this kind of like where Facebook Live was maybe 1.5 years ago, where you can only do it on your phone, it's up there for 24 hours and goes away? I'm just trying to determine this, because I get all kinds of notifications now on Instagram, so-and-so is live. And that's mostly the reaction that I get is, because there's other people that do Twitch streams and YouTube Lives and everything else, and they're like, Instagram Live? It was just like Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So-and-so is live? I didn't know Instagram did that.
You can do that with Facebook now, too.
And it's unusual, because you can actually have a second person on with you. Well, I think they called it Be Live TV or something like that. It's where you could have up to 4 people, I think, actually participating in.
There's actually a service where you can
hang out,
you can do Twitch streams
in a different way.
2 people doing the same Twitch. It's a weird little format. I know Brush Wizard and Hobbyist Girl does it a lot.
So that's something I was thinking of almost giving an experiment to maybe tomorrow, just to see. I assume you can only use your phone. It's going to be weird going back to that again. And I thought maybe while I was working on that display board or something, I just set up the phone, and instead of listening to ESPN 1000 for 3-4 hours, listening to the same basketball and hockey playoff scores for 3 hours, maybe do something like that.
Ooh.
I just wasn't sure if anybody else had tried that or seen that, because everyone I talked to, like, Instagram Live? Maybe they just don't check their Instagram things as often as I do, I guess.
That's not a service I can tell you I've tried. I don't have that much of an internet presence anyway.
For me, it's weird. You would think that it's just the same group that's on Facebook, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not the same group. And like the YouTube thing, there's a lot of commonality between the 3 platforms, but each one, at least a third of the people there are just unique to that platform.
Yeah, especially with Instagram.
People had to talk me into using it. I'm already spending hours every day on social media doing this stuff.
Some people swear by it.
It's its own different thing. Maybe people they don't want to, like on Instagram, all I see is miniature stuff from the people I follow. I don't see my dog just had his head chopped off today, or I hate this, or you didn't like this movie, so I hate you. So maybe that's why people like the Instagram, because it is just totally targeted to what you want to see.
Probably. Which is better when you have something that's, miniature painting, that you really need for them to get to focus them on that interest, sorry.
Well, each one has its own, as I've been trying to tell someone else, Facebook is just strictly for eyeballs, because weren't sure about the resolution is so low on the Facebook Lives. And I said, that's not what it's about. People are there, they want to do it because they can basically interact with you. They see you painting the miniature, they can ask you questions, they can say, hey, this is so-and-so from whatever. Instagram kind of does the same thing, but it seems like it's a much more controlled environment, where Instagram, I think the only people that would see it would be the people who follow me. Whereas Facebook, it kind of starts with all of the people that follow me, and then the algorithm takes it from there. Because it has to, because the thing has been viewed 9,000 times in 2 days, and I only have 5,000 Facebook friends.
Yeah.
So obviously the algorithm is kicked in, and there was another one that got 25,000 views. So some algorithm did something. Yeah, usually these things average between 6 and 12,000 or so views, usually in the first week and a half. YouTube is great, but you're not going to get that many views. But YouTube, people might really analyze it closer, because it's a much higher res thing that you're doing. You can broadcast at a much higher, or I'm just putting the painting pyramid ones up there. My battle reports, that's a 2.5 hour long video. Actually, the second one was 2 hours 41 minutes, and it took probably a 4 gig file and uploaded it, and it's up there now, and it looks pretty darn close to the original render that I made. That took 6 hours. I mean, there's some kind of compression that happens, but definitely not like what Facebook does.
Oh yeah.
But then they're different things, and I just wasn't sure, because Kathy's podcast crew, when they broadcast, they're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and I know sometimes the XSplit kind of fights. I think there's one of those three that doesn't like to play with.
Oh no, I use OBS, and you can only go to one. So we will only be broadcasting to one once we finally get that launched, and it will probably, I don't know. I might send it to Facebook, because I think all of our patrons are on Facebook, and I could just set up a private group and live broadcast there. But as an added benefit, if I send it to YouTube and just have it set up as a private and send them directly a link, after a certain amount of time, I could just switch it over to everyone can view. Which is true. We have a Discord server.
There's also Discord.
And I can set up a private room there as well, because all of our patrons have a different color name and all that good stuff. So
well, that's the with the YouTube thing. Yeah, there you can't share it as easy. Facebook. What happens is, by the time I'm done with my average live session, at least between 12 and 16 people have shared it. So that's a force multiplier. It's really hard to do on YouTube. You have to have the existing subscribers in place.
This is really funny. We were talking about Vegas, and I'm scrolling through Facebook, and boom, what shows up? A Vegas advertisement for Vegas 15. I'm not saying that it was listening in, but it was probably listening.
But it was. Yeah, that has happened to me so many times. The other day I was telling one of my roommates was telling me about this cooking pot he bought.
And you know what kills me about this entire YouTube thing, this entire Facebook thing about, oh my God, our privacy. Really? Really? Seriously? For all the people that are filling out those stupid fucking quizzes and everything, you're giving them the information. You can't cry about not your birth date being known if you go and do those stupid astrological surveys. What the hell do you think those things are? They're freaking info miners. That's all they're there for. You're giving them the information. It's not like they're going to go, this person didn't put down a birth date, but I can tell you they're born on December 10th. Nah, you give them that information. So, honestly, it's just like someone was like, oh my God, I can't believe that my private DM tweets are being read by Twitter. Really? Really? No, if you really want privacy, get an encrypted,
Yeah, I mean, if you really want privacy, then
email
just
or
public
encrypted
services.
message. There's encrypted message. Well, I mean, there's encrypted.
Yeah, or
only
don't be,
put information on a social
don't
network
be
that
on
you
the
want people to
social
know.
networks.
If you don't want anybody to have your phone number, don't fucking put it down. If you don't want people to know if you're married, don't fucking put it down. Don't post pictures of your husband and wife or wife. Oh my god, don't put down shit that you don't want people. This Cambridge blah 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 bullshit is the dumbest fucking thing. The fact that our Senate is actually sitting there wasting time having a meeting that they have no idea what the fuck that Zuckerberg is saying, and they're wasting time like, oh, everyone's privacy was no, you old fucker, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, can we have someone who's under the age of 70 on a fucking
really
tech panel so they can
right?
actually understand what the fuck is going on? People who had to crank start their cars are not good people for asking the youngest billionaire in the world questions about his technical empire.
At one point, there was, actually, Senator from Illinois, he didn't realize that most of the room was laughing at him because it was that whole thing about would you post your information about what hotel you're staying in? And he's sitting there like, I choose not to do that. Some people do, but no, I don't choose it. And all the people in the room that were laughing, the senator saying, I just got him, man. I gave him a zinger. And like, no, actually, you just zinged yourself there, Dick. And that's his name. He thought he just worked him over. He said, no, you just can't prove that you're sort of like the one guy that put a sock on one of those in the store. He was trying to like be a man of the people buying socks. And
wow.
said, what's this thing? He'd never seen a price scanner before.
Oh wow! It's one of those things. That's the biggest thing that I heard about that entire thing with Zuckerberg is the fact that all the people asking him questions had no idea how the internet worked, not how Facebook worked, how the internet worked, and what social media even was. Like most of these people didn't have a clue, and they're trying to ask him questions, and it's like. Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, we also have those kinds of snafus in our...
Oh, man. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
The world.
Yeah, everyone...
Dude, do you want to know what supposedly the government is trying to do, like Mexican government right now?
Oh, they're trying to do that here too.
They're trying to tax everything you buy through the internet.
Oh, they're like M?
Oh damn it! How are they even going to do that?
Unfortunately, that'll fail. But what the Supreme Court really
I had
wants
to pay
do is
state
pass
tax
the
on
buck
almost
to
everything I
Congress
order
because they don't have
online
to deal with
because
it
of
anymore.
Indiana laws. I have to if I order something, like especially Amazon, I get charged tax on everything from Amazon.
Yeah, but usually it's the site that's collecting it. Here they're just going to collect a base tax on everything that is routed through a credit card that's bought online.
That's kind of ass backwards.
So it's draconian. It's stupid. I mean, I understand paying taxes. I'm not against it. But what if I pay
right, because services are not
services
taxable.
Online, which I do.
Really?
Exactly.
Well, there are municipalities trying to tax those now. Yep, because, the whole funding by fines is starting to backfire now because people are realizing that the red light cameras are actually set to screw you over, so that there's a lot of lawsuits and those are starting to go away. So now they got to find some other replacement for it.
Isn't that what you pay income tax on?
Taxation of services.
That would be double dipping.
Oh, well, there's plenty of that here. I've been double dipped so many times. I have many orifices that are extended far wider than they should be. naturally.
All right, well, it is getting kind of late. The ladies have left us. This is turning into a wiener party. So let's go ahead and wrap it up before we are tempted to sword fight, because I'm actually really tired. Woo! So,
all right.
any closing words, gentlemen?
Almost done with the sculpt.
Keep on painting. Always experiment. Whether it's whatever medium, technique. Try chibis if you never tried one before, just to try it. Because you will learn something.
Purple is your best friend. It's the wonder color.
To what your usual stuff is.
Chibis are awesome.
But anyways, thanks everyone for listening to Models Workshop After Hours. We do this because of you guys. So if you need to reach out to us and talk to us, we have a Discord server. You can also find us over at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. You can find me hanging around on the Tweeterverse over at twitter.com/NWH Podcast. We also have a discussion group, and if you're into chibis, head over to Chibitastic. We are literally accessible. Like, if you have a question, you can buzz us and ask us. We'll reply. We like that 100% reply rate. No, I don't know why, but we strive for it. So, but anyways, thanks folks for coming and listening to another great episode. Hopefully sometime 7 days after this episode, the UK one will be popping up for episode 1 of the proper After Hours. But but all right, Heriberto, thank you for coming on. It's been great having you. We'll have to do this again. All right.
Thanks to you, rather.
Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. I'm at your service. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another great episode of Models Workshop After Hours, your one-stop podcast for laughs and great painting advice. We come out at least every other week, barring emergencies and holidays, of course, covering a wide variety of hobby topics and basically talking about life in general. When you're not listening to us through your favorite podcatcher, you can find the entire crew hanging out at facebook.com/The Models Workshop. That's all one word smushed together, sharing all the cool things that we find floating around the internet and giving out painting advice. You can also find Larry on Twitter and Instagram at MWAH Podcast, and Yeji and Clint at the same at Snickernack, which is NICKERNACK. If you like what we do, please make sure to drop a quick review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whatever service you listen to us on. This helps us out greatly and gets the word of the After Hours out to everyone. Models Workshop is done out of pocket. We have no advertisers because we like to be able to be completely truthful with you. If you want to make a donation to help us out, you can at paypal.me/Models Workshop, or you can do a monthly service at patreon.com/Models Workshop. Once again, thank you for listening. Until next time, grab those brushes, paints, and get to painting.